Chapter 2:15. Then, the second and third needles. Depending on the acupoints, the depth of the needles varied. Some were quick, some were twisted, and some were flicked. Xiangyi was fully focused and deliberately slowed down. However, in the eyes of ordinary people, she was still too fast. Some netizens in the live stream began treating Xiangyi from afar. How can anyone remove acupoints so quickly? You should at least find the right acupoint before inserting the needle. Wow, has this female star Xiang watched too many TV dramas? And she's watching it on 2x speed? How can acupuncture be done so quickly in real life? I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner. What kind of acupoints did she choose? She's just trying to be fast. She's obviously showing off. Anyway, I've never seen a Chinese medicine master perform acupuncture like this. After the acupuncture was done, Xiangyi's tense nerves finally relaxed a little. Shui handed her a tissue at the right time. She wiped her forehead with it, but the tissue was soon soaked. Xiangyi asked her brother, "How do you feel?" Xiangli pondered for 2 seconds and said, The area where you inserted the needle is warm, and some parts are even a little hot. Apart from that, there's no other discomfort." After he was injured, he visited famous doctors all over the country, and the country had also invited local medical masters to treat him. However, it was only a little hot at most. It had never been as hot as it was now. It's normal to feel hot. Xiangyi heaved a sigh of relief. "Since you don't feel dizzy, we'll leave the needle for 10 minutes. After the needle is removed, you should regain some feeling." Xiang Li's eyes lit up. "How confident are you?" He had never regretted saving his sister because although the core was not hers, the body was hers. However, it would be a lie to say that he had no regrets. Xiang Li was such a proud person, yet he had become half-crippled in the field he was best at. He would also feel defeated and powerless. But now, Xiangyi actually said that he could regain feeling in his hand. Even if it was just a little, he would be satisfied. Xiangyi looked at him in confusion. "Since I'm treating you, I'm 100% confident." She thought that her brother was disappointed because he could not fully recover, so she explained in a gentle voice, "Don't worry. Although you can only recover a little at a time, I promise that with the help of the prescription and moxibustion, your hand will be cured within 5 times. Let your senses completely recover." The girl's confident appearance seemed to glow. Xiangli stared at her. After a long while, he slowly exhaled. "Okay, I will definitely cooperate with our tutu." The seemingly calm young doctor's heart was surging with waves. His hand could be healed. It wasn't a possibility. It was possible. He might have doubted the assurances of others. However, he believed his sister's words unconditionally. Little did she know that Xiangyi's words were too absolute, causing the netizens to be dissatisfied once again. The blogger who first revealed that Xiangli was injured was furious and posted another long post. "Frowny face noob baldy PhD. I thought Xiangyi V you were just young and ignorant. I didn't expect you to be so vicious. Do you know how desperate Dr. X has been this year? He handed over his most prized research to someone else, not because he didn't want to continue, but because he couldn't do any more experiments. That was research that could win the Nobel Prize in medicine. He had given it to someone else just like that. What about you?" His brain was stupid, his personality was selfish, and his medical skills were full of showmanship and exaggeration. Now, he actually dared to say that he could definitely cure Dr. X? What do you think of the intelligence of a genius? What do you think of the efforts of the famous doctors in the country this year? It's not enough that you hurt Dr. X's body. Now you want to destroy his will. Your actions are despicable. Your intentions are damning. Chapter 2:16. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, it caused a heated discussion. "Well said, no wonder she's a PhD student. Being cultured is different. I only know how to call her an idiot. Oh my god, is the vase fairy lying to Dr. Xiang? How can she do that? I'm going to cry again. Dr. Xiang trusts her so much. If he finds out that he was lied to, he'll be so upset." The netizens who were watching the show reposted, commented, and liked the post, sending it to the hot search list. Many people even tagged the big shots in the scientific research circle, hoping that they would come forward and say something. However, the strange thing was that none of the big shots spoke up. Some anti-fans took a different approach and tagged the Wuxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association. They said passionately, "Shouldn't the traditional Chinese medicine practitioner's license be revoked?" Buzz! A notification popped up on the screen. The anti-fans clicked on it and realized that it was a reply from the Wuxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association. "Hello. May I ask who this genius doctor is? Where can I find her? I'm willing to reward you handsomely." The anti-fans were dumbfounded. What the hell? Official Weibo, have you been hacked? He hesitated for a moment before typing, "You don't have to thank me. She's a regular guest on a very popular live variety show called The Vase Fairy." After sending it out, he felt that something was amiss. After reading it several times, he finally reacted and hurriedly sent another message. "Ahem, I'm sorry, I got used to calling her that. I almost thought that her surname was Vase. Her name is Xiangyi and her Weibo username is Xiangyi." A moment later, many traditional Chinese medicine masters in the country received a call from the president of the Traditional Chinese Medicine Association. An emergency online meeting was called. More than 10 minutes later, dozens of traditional Chinese medicine masters gathered in the online conference room of a certain software company. Every one of them was a big shot who could be called a divine doctor. The person who presided over the meeting was the president himself. He was already in his twilight years and had deep wrinkles on his face. He was hale and hearty, and his hair was black and lush. Many of the masters even secretly discussed whether the president wore a wig or used hair dye behind his back. I called this meeting mainly to show everyone this video. The president made a gesture and a young boy beside him played the video for him. His excited voice could still be heard. "Grandpa, I've confirmed that this video is real. This young divine doctor is only 20 years old." Little miracle doctor? How could a 20-year-old be called a divine doctor? Many of the masters muttered in their hearts. When they were 20 years old, they were still being lectured by their masters. At this moment, the video was shared to everyone's screen. Everyone casually glanced at it and their attention was instantly attracted. The girl in the video was calm and indifferent. She seemed to have the help of the gods when she inserted the needles. She removed the acupoints, inserted the needles, operated the needles, retained the needles, and removed the needles. Every step was done by her. In the eyes of the layman, it was as if she was moving at twice the speed. But in the eyes of these masters of the apricot world, he was a genius. 10 minutes later, when the video ended, many people realized that they were holding their breaths unconsciously. Who is this little divine doctor's master? Where do you live? Someone couldn't hold back and took the lead to ask. This immediately caused the crowd to be dissatisfied. "Old Sue, are you trying to poach people in front of me? Do you think the little divine doctor will take a fancy to your shabby clinic? Why don't you come to me and take me as your teacher? My hospital is big. All of you are ugly, but dream on. Let me put it this way, where does the little divine doctor live? I'll go to her house and accept her as my disciple." Chapter 217. Just as everyone was discussing excitedly, a voice suddenly rang out. Elder Jing, who was known as the Poison Doctor, sneered. "Take in a disciple? You want to take her in, but does she want to? Her acupuncture skills are enough to be a master for many of you." The conference room fell into an eerie silence. Elder Jing was good at fighting poison with poison. However, his reputation as the Poison Doctor was spread because of his sharp tongue. Because of his eccentric personality and sharp tongue, he had offended many patients from rich and powerful families. There was a moment of silence. Elder Yun, who was good at food therapy, said gently, "The young lady's acupuncture skills are superb, but I can teach her food therapy." Elder Yun was very popular. As soon as he spoke, someone immediately agreed. Yes, yes, yes. I'm also very good at massaging. I can teach her." When it comes to cupping, if I claim to be second, who dares to claim to be first? The young lady's pulse reading is too slow. I'm afraid she's inexperienced. I can teach her how to look, listen, question, and feel the pulse. The conference room instantly became the time for the masters to show off. The president of the Chinese Medicine Association closed his eyes and rested. Now that traditional Chinese medicine was strongly impacted by Western medicine, the number of young people who were willing to learn traditional Chinese medicine was far less than Western medicine. After a long time, it was too difficult to find a good seedling. Medicine was like any other discipline. It needed geniuses. The young lady in the video displayed such a high level of acupuncture skills at the age of 20. Without a doubt, she was a genius. If they could nurture her carefully and gather the strengths of various schools, it would be a great thing to revitalize the medical industry. Thinking of this, the president coughed a few times and everyone immediately fell silent. My grandson said that she's recording a program. I'd like to invite a few of you to participate in her program and see if the young lady has any intention of becoming a disciple. Everyone instantly responded enthusiastically and expressed that they would choose them. At the Manor live broadcast site, Xiangyi put away the needles and tidied up the needles. Xiangli tried to move his right hand and a look of shock flashed past his eyes. He really could feel it. Originally, his hand could only do some simple actions, such as holding a book. But now he felt that he could write and draw. Xiangli couldn't help but be moved. He muttered softly, "Our tutu is really amazing." The netizens in the live broadcast room were speechless. It can't be? It's really effective? Could it be that Xiangyi wasn't messing around? Suddenly, there was movement at the door. A staff member came in and whispered a few words to Li Jianyu. A few seconds later, Li Jianyu said absent-mindedly, Sister E, please go to the door. The police are looking for you." The trolls started their business. "The police are here to arrest her." "Ha ha ha, I love it." The next second, Li Jianyu's voice spread throughout the live stream. He said he's here to give you a silk banner. The haters? Xiangyi went to the entrance of the manor in confusion. A white and blue police car was parked outside the black iron gate. When the uniformed policeman saw Xiangyi, he saluted her and handed her a big red banner with a smile. There were a few big words written on it: frowny face radiant angel, passionate citizen. "Thank you, Madam Xiangyi. You have contributed greatly to our investigation of the Mingxi boys' high school case." Xiangyi, other than the mobile little red flag she had when she was a student, she had never seen this before. "Thank you. This is what I should do." The netizens in the live broadcast room were dumbfounded. They had only seen citizens giving silk banners to the police. So it was the other way around. This was really too amazing. Chapter 218. There was an uproar in the live stream. Official acknowledgement. What the F***CK? This isn't a script, is it? She's just an ordinary warm-hearted citizen? Putting everything else aside, Li Tao, rational discussion. What's the standard of a female celebrity in the entertainment industry to receive a silk banner from the police? At this moment, countless haters were staring blankly at their keyboards with blank looks on their faces. How is she being criticized? How is she being criticized? This female celebrity Xiangyi is toxic? She's also a female celebrity, but she's either glamorous on the red carpet or taking street photos at the airport. Occasionally, there's even some love scandals. What about me? Gardening, cooking, catching pigs, sanxian, traditional Chinese medicine. She drove a tractor to send a child to school and actually saved the child's life. Come to think of it, I actually have some charisma? With this silk banner representing official acknowledgement, coupled with the fact that the acupuncture she had given Xiang Li was indeed effective, the comment section became much friendlier. Sob sob sob, I didn't dare to say anything, but I really couldn't take it anymore. Sister E is still a good child if she knows her mistakes and changes. E has indeed done something wrong, and we'll admit it even if you don't push us over the head. However, I hope you can see the good in her red heart. I'm really confused now. I feel like the current vase fairy is so different from before. It's like she's a completely different person. You're not the same person. I used to like watching the videos of Vase Fairy's variety shows edited by the Up in the Ghost section. She's a variety star and has participated in many shows, but she's really a black hole in variety shows. Not only is she awkward, she also likes to cry, put on airs, and act like a big shot. But now, she's a completely different person. I'm starting to wonder if she has a twin now. Xiangyi returned to the living room with the silk banner. Sure Sui chuckled. Do you want me to hang it up for you? Xiangyi was slightly embarrassed. No, let's put it away. I'll go check on Xiao Naofu. It's still ignoring me. Xiang Li, who was sitting by the floor-to-ceiling window, flipped through the pages of the book on his lap with his pale fingers and said calmly, Male creatures can't be spoiled. Once they're spoiled, they'll be spoiled. The words male creature had a double meaning. Shi Sui raised her eyebrows and looked at him from afar. Xiangli looked over. Their gazes met in the air. Invisible electric currents crackled and exploded as they clashed secretly. The girl suddenly snorted. Is Xiao Naofu a boy? Shi Sui, Xiangli. The two of them looked at Xiangyi. The little girl was curiously lifting the kitten's furry tail. Suddenly, Shi Sui clasped her wrist, and she could feel the warmth of his fingers. It's not good for you to take advantage of Xiao Naofu like this, right? Xiangyi explained in a low voice. No, I'm just curious. I want to see. Cough. Her milky white ears gradually turned red. She had never raised a cat, nor had she carefully studied Xiao Naofu's body. In addition, Xiao Naofu was her system when she was about to transmigrate, so its voice was a kind of androgynous mechanical voice. She had always assumed that Xiao Naofu was a girl. The corners of Shi Sui's lips curled up slightly, and her peach blossom eyes narrowed lazily. So straightforward? That's not good. Xiao Naofu also wants to save face. In the live stream. Am I the only one who thinks the wrong way? Shuringdi is too flirtatious. He successfully made me blush in front of the screen. I'm louder than a screaming chicken. No one can cover my mouth. DBQ Mom, I didn't become a scientist, but I became an expert today. Sisters, untimely occasion, I can. Chapter 219. The girl muttered weakly, but it doesn't have that. What? Shi Sui smiled. She didn't know if he really didn't understand or if he was deliberately teasing her. That one. The man's low laughter sounded in her ears. The two were so close that Xiangyi could even feel the vibration of his chest. Her wrist seemed to be gently caressed, and an indescribable feeling of affection arose. She felt a slight itch. She felt restless. Shi Sui leaned over, turned off their microphones, and whispered a few words in her ear. Then, as he wished, he saw. The redness on the little rabbit's ears became more prominent. Xiangyi. So that's how it is. Xiao Naofu, who was on the hammock, licked its paws and glanced at Xiangyi in disgust. Stupid woman. Not only could she not tell its gender, but she couldn't even tell how bad the two men in the room were. Especially Shi Sui. This stinky man. Even a dog isn't as good as him. A moment later. Shi Sui's voice was tinged with a low, husky smile. Do you understand? Xiangyi's voice was like a mosquito as she replied, Aha. Not far away, Xiangli flipped through his book and said coldly, Do you think you can hold Tutu's hand just because you want to? Hey, he was plotting something. Did he think that he, Tutu's second brother, was dead? Only then did Xiangyi realize that Shi Sui had been holding her wrist the whole time. As if she had been scalded, she pulled her hand away and said uncomfortably, I'm going to make a cake. Teacher Yin and the others should be back soon. The girl fled into the kitchen. Shi Sui looked at Xiangli and mouthed a few words with his thin lips. His back was to the camera, so the audience in the live broadcast room couldn't see it. However, Xiangli could read lips and easily recognized Shi Sui's words. Don't be angry, second brother-in-law. In Nanqing, men would only call their wife's brother or uncle. Xiangli secretly gritted his teeth. I treat you as my brother, but you want to hit on my sister? Dream on. The manor stretched to the green hills not far away. Shang Guang accompanied his wife for a walk here. He took off his coat and put it on her. Madam, take a rest. The cameraman was filming silently. After returning from Mingxi Boys High School, Yin Zhengxue was not in a good state. She tightened her husband's coat and sighed. In life, things don't always go as one wishes. Some people can't get what they want, while others can't. I really feel sorry for those children. Yin Zhengxue actually liked children very much and had put in a lot of effort over the years. First, he sought medical help. Later, he even tried praying to God and Buddha. But she still couldn't get pregnant. If she had children, she would treat them like treasures. But how could the parents of those children at Mingxi Boys High School? Yin Zhengxue closed her eyes and couldn't bear to continue thinking about it. Shang Guang said gently, Children are like fate. We can't force them. We just have to let nature take its course. Yin Zhengshue's red lips moved slightly. Perhaps because the incident at Mingxi Boys High School was too emotional. She revealed her inner thoughts. Actually, I recently asked a master to prescribe me a prescription. It said that it can increase the chances of pregnancy, but it will be harmful to the body. I may not be able to act anymore. I want to give it a try. Shang Guang objected. No. Your health is the most important thing. The live broadcast room was suddenly filled with curses. Is Yin Jiangxue out of her mind? Me? I really don't understand why women like her insist on having children. I'm vomiting. Boys are okay, but women are hopeless. The Qing dynasty has already fallen and she still wants to carry on the family line for her husband? Chapter 220. Yin Jiangxue smiled bitterly and said, I'm sorry, hubby. You didn't do anything wrong. Shang Guang knew that although she looked carefree, she was actually very sensitive, especially since her previous marriage had hurt her too deeply. Our marriage is based on love and trust, not children. If we have children, we'll raise them together. If we don't, it's okay. When we're old and gray, we'll still be able to spend some quality time together. Yin Jiangxue was amused by his words, and those sentimental and hesitant emotions also dissipated. She suddenly thought of something and said, I heard from Shi Sui that little Xiangyi has medical skills. Why don't I ask her to take my pulse? Shang Guang nodded and said, Okay, I'll accompany you. There was another round of mockery in the pop-up comments. Even if you're desperate, you don't have to be like this, do you? I'm dying of laughter. Vase Fairy can't treat any incurable disease, let alone infertility. The female star of the Xiang family is full of brainwashing aura. Anyone who comes within 3 meters of her will be 100% effective. In the kitchen, Xiangyi put the chocolate mousse cake she had made into the refrigerator and waited for it to solidify before it was ready to eat. At the same time, there was a ding sound from the oven, indicating that the cupcakes she had made were ready. Xiangyi took out a plate and carefully decorated each with cream and cherries. She was done. She brought the cupcakes to the living room on a tray. Everyone else's cupcakes were of normal sweetness while Xiangyi's had a low sugar flavor. Xiangli took a sip and a smile appeared on his face. As expected, Bunny still remembered his taste. Wow, little Xiangyi, you made a cake. Yin Jiangxue, who had just returned from outside, saw the cake and her eyes lit up. Ah, but I've been on a diet lately, Xiangyi said. Shall I make you a low-sugar one? Yin Jiangxue waved her hand and said, No, I'll just take one bite. She picked up a cupcake and ate it. The fruit was fresh, the cream was dense, and the cake was sweet and fragrant. The combination was soft and delicate, yet it didn't lose its texture. It was delicious. Thus, one bite became many bites. She stuffed the dessert into her mouth and said vaguely, Little Xiangyi, you must be a professional dessert chef. As a chef, she naturally felt a sense of accomplishment when the food she made was liked so much. Xiangyi smiled and made a cup of black tea for her. The cake was slightly sweet, and the slightly strong black tea instantly highlighted the taste of the cake. The next second, Shang Guang's half-eaten cake was also snatched away by her. Madam, don't you want to lose weight? Shang Guang helplessly asked. Shoo! Lower your voice, don't let my fat hear you. As long as I eat fast enough, the fat won't be able to catch up with me. Shang Guang. Ha, Teacher Yin, you're definitely the king of 2 under 1 roof. Mr. Shang's expression is so affectionate. He probably really likes Yin Jiangxue. Who wouldn't love such a beautiful and interesting Mama Yin? Her acting skills are so good too. Tiske, so what if she's outstanding? She's still a divorcee who can't even give birth. There's an idiot comment in front, I suggest everyone report it. After eating 3 cupcakes, Yin Jiangxue finally stopped. She brushed her hair and pretended that nothing had happened. Shang Guang reminded her, By the way, didn't you say that you wanted Miss Xiang to take your pulse? Ah, yes. Yin Jiangxue looked at Xiangyi with anticipation in her eyes. Little Xiangyi, can you take my pulse? Chapter 221. Xiangyi said, Of course, are you feeling unwell? Yin Jiangxue did not hesitate and said generously, I want to ask if there's still a possibility of me getting pregnant. Xiangyi nodded slightly. Please give me your left hand. Yin Jiangxue stretched out her hand and placed it in front of Xiangyi nervously. About 2 minutes later the girl said gently, Please give me your right hand. Pulse diagnosis was one of the looking, listening, asking, and feeling methods. It was said that a man's left hand was the woman's right hand, but in fact, it was more comprehensive and accurate to take the pulse of both hands. After taking the pulse, Xiangyi frowned slightly and did not speak for the time being. Seeing her reaction, Yin Jiangshue's heart skipped a beat. However, although she was disappointed, she still turned to Xiangyi. "I'm fine. You don't have to say anything to comfort me. I know I'm not fated to have children in this life." Shangguang hugged her shoulders and patted her gently. Xiangyi looked up in surprise. "Miss Yin, you've misunderstood. I'm thinking about which prescription to choose." She had once traveled through a world. In order to help the female lead of that world ascend to the position of empress, Xiangyi worked hard to study medicine and became the first female imperial physician. She was best at gynecology. However, if she was too good at it, it would also be troublesome. Just like how a straight-A student could write down the standard answer quickly, but sometimes, a genius student would struggle with which one to write down. Yin Jiangshue was overjoyed. "Do you mean that I can still get pregnant?" "I'll give it a try." Xiangyi gave the most conservative answer. "There's about a 90% chance, but you'll need to cooperate with me to nurse your body." 90%? Yin Jiangshue could not believe it. The doctor she had seen before all said that the chances were slim. The most optimistic one, which gave the greatest possibility, was only 10 to 20%. The girl took a pen and paper and wrote down the prescription. She folded it and handed it to her. "I'll prepare a medicinal diet and recipe for you later. If you're still worried, you can take the prescription to the experts. After confirming that there's no problem, you can take the prescription." Yin Jiangshue felt as if she had received a treasure and thanked her profusely. "Thank you. Thank you, little Xiangyi. I will definitely do as you say." Some of the viewers watching the live stream were genuinely happy for Yin Jiangshue, while others were jealous. "What kind of prescription is this? Is there only 4 words written on it, drink more hot water?" "Vase Fairy, please go read some tactful chicken soup novels. You're always talking big, I can't stand it. First, you said that you can cure the doctor's older brother after 5 times. Now, you're saying that there's an 80% chance that you can make Mama Yin pregnant. You even confidently said that you'll show the prescription to an expert. Do you really think you're a miracle doctor?" No, she's not confident. She just knows that no one can argue with her. How could Dr. Xiang and teacher Yin have anything to do with her after leaving the show? She did it on purpose because she felt that it wouldn't be good for them to fall out with her. TSK, it would be great if they could hire an expert to do it until now. They would definitely smash the Vase Fairy's face. As soon as this bullet screen floated past, another staff member came in and whispered a few words to Li Jianyu in a hurry. This time, not only was Li Jianyu in a trance, he was also confused on the spot. "It can't be, right? It can't be, right?" The president of the Wuxia Chinese Medicine Association, along with several big shots of Chinese medicine, begged to appear on their variety show. The reason was, his eyes focused on Xiang Yi. He swallowed his saliva and said into the microphone, Sister Yi, someone is looking for you again. I think it's a few old grandpas." Chapter 222. At the entrance of the manor. Xiang Yi didn't know any of the old men in front of her. She politely greeted, "Hello, Grandpa. Are you looking for me?" That's right. The one who spoke was Elder Fong, the president of the Chinese Medicine Association. He said calmly, "Here's the thing, we want to use your show to popularize medical knowledge to the public and promote traditional Chinese medicine culture. Is it convenient for you?" Xiang Yi looked at Li Jianyu and said, "Director Li, of course, it's our honor." Li Jianyu, who was behind the camera, said while wiping his sweat profusely. He knew the identities of the 3 big shots. Elder Fong, the president of the Chinese Medicine Association, Elder Yun, the heir of Huichun Hall Medical Hall, Elder Jing, the chief master of Jishir Hall Medical Hall. If the 3 of them were to appear in Xianxia novels, they would definitely be the immortals hidden in the protagonist's ring. It was no exaggeration to say that they were medical experts that many rich and powerful families couldn't afford to hire. Yet, they were now going to appear on 2 Under One Roof, an online live variety show to spread medical knowledge? How was this using a sledgehammer to kill a chicken? This was simply using a green dragon crescent blade studded with gems. "This way, please." Xiang Yi led the way in front and couldn't help but take a few more glances at Elder Yun. Elder Yun had a mild temper and he said with a smile, "Young lady, Do you find me familiar? Xiangyi nodded and said, Grandpa, there seems to be a photo of you in the Guide to Traditional Chinese Medicine Cuisine. You've actually read the book I wrote? Elder Yun's eyes lit up with joy. Are you interested in diet therapy? At the mention of the past, the young lady was a little embarrassed. Actually, I read it as a recipe book. At that time, I was just learning medicine from my grandfather. Every day, I was either memorizing the names of herbs or prescriptions. I felt that it was too boring, so I cooked according to your book. My favorite food is your American ginseng double snow lean meat soup. It tastes especially good with some candied dates. Elder Yun smiled and didn't forget to give Elder Fong and Elder Jing a smug look. This disciple of mine is mine. Elder Fong was unperturbed. He stroked his beard and looked like an otherworldly expert. Elder Jing snorted in disdain. You've published a few books. Other than the Guide to Medicinal Cuisine that's a bestseller, the other books are all slow selling. Which publisher doesn't cry when they see you? Elder Yun. In addition to diet therapy, he also studied other aspects of traditional Chinese medicine. The books he wrote were profound and complicated, and he liked to quote ancient Chinese. Not only did he require the reader to have outstanding medical skills, but he also had to keep up with the literacy level. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to understand what he wrote. As a result, most of his books didn't sell well. Elder Yun faintly smiled. I heard that you were poisoned when you tried medicinal herbs a few days ago? I'm afraid you're the current Shennong, Li Shizhen of Nanqing. Elder Jing. He flew into a rage out of humiliation. That's a foreign herb. I've never seen it before, so I was careless and fell for it. The live stream became a sea of joy. I've found out. These people are all titans of the Chinese medicine industry, but they're like primary school students when they get along with each other. Ha ha ha. Master. Teach me how to insult people. Ah no, teach me medicine. It's okay to expose each other's shortcomings, how mean. But I don't mind listening to more dog talk. When everyone entered the living room, they naturally exchanged a few pleasantries. Yin Jiangshua's eyes lit up when she heard their true identities, but then slowly dimmed. How could such a big shot make a move so easily? Chapter 223. She had been looking for famous doctors all these years and had seen the fickleness of the world. She had met doctors who were benevolent, doctors who were only after money, and even scammers who weren't good at medicine. The more skilled a master was, the more difficult it was for ordinary people to make an appointment with him. She sighed and decided to let nature take its course. It would be great if she could get a few masters to treat her. If they couldn't, then they didn't owe her anything. Xiangyi took out a tea set that her third brother had given her. Xiang Qi had good taste, so the tea set he had chosen was simple and beautiful. It was pleasing to the eye just by looking at it. She warmed the cup, washed the tea, and made the tea. The young girl's actions were natural and elegant. Elder Fong and the others tasted the tea and looked at Xiangyi with even more affection. It was as if they were looking at their own disciple. Elder Jing couldn't wait to ask, "Young girl, who did you learn your medical skills from?" Xiangyi answered honestly, "My grandfather." Xiang Yin? Elder Jing frowned. He's quite good at medicine. He had Xiang Yin as his WeChat friend, but that old man always liked to show off how cute his little granddaughter was. It was very annoying, so he had blocked Xiang Yin a few years ago. Now that he thought about it, he regretted it so much. He had missed such a good seedling. Elder Yun took a sip of tea and said, "It's rare to hear you praise someone. I thought you were too short of vocabulary and had never learned any commendatory words." Elder Jing retorted, "Commendatory words are used to praise people." Elder Yun was speechless. Seeing that the two old friends were about to quarrel again, Elder Fong rubbed his forehead and said, "All right, don't forget about business." The two old men instantly shut their mouths and stared at Xiang Yi with burning eyes. The young girl instinctively shrank behind her brother. Xiang Li lowered his eyes and drank the tea. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. However, Shi Sui seemed to have seen through something. He pushed his glasses up his nose bridge and asked with a smile, "How are you going to popularize medical knowledge?" "Our program team will cooperate fully." Elder Fong said faintly, "If we were to talk purely about theory, it would be too boring. I'm sure the young people in front of the screen wouldn't like to hear us talk about yin and yang, the 5 elements, evil energy, and cold energy. Therefore, we're going to use practical methods to convey it. Is there anyone present who is unwell? For example, excessive internal heat, cold, headaches, and so on. At first, no one dared to say anything out of fear of their identities. For a moment, the atmosphere was somewhat cold. Li Jianyu was the first to raise his hand. I've been suffering from an oral ulcer recently. Can it be treated? Elder Yun suggested that they eat more pears, loquats, tomatoes, and other fruits and vegetables. Elder Jing suggested that they could use gentian laogan decoction or bupleurum decoction. Elder Fong, on the other hand, gave a detailed explanation, from the cause of the disease to the symptoms to how to treat the symptoms. His explanation was easy to understand and fascinating. With Li Jianyu taking the lead, the other staff members also raised their hands. Yin Zhongxue was a little hesitant. What if she caused the masters to be flamed by the netizens? That was not what she wanted to see. Sheng Guang held her hand. Madam, why don't we show the prescriptions to the masters? Yin Zhongxue heaved a sigh of relief. That's good too. If the masters approved of Xiangyi's prescription, she could just follow the prescription. Thinking of this, Yin Zhongxue handed over a prescription. Because it was folded and the paper was similar, she didn't realize that she was handing over the prescription that the doctor had given her. Chapter 224. Old Master Fong took the prescription from her. The three of them first took Yin Zhongshue's pulse, after which Old Master Fong opened the prescription and took a few glances at it. His brows furrowed. It was obvious that this prescription wasn't written by a young lady. He passed the prescription to Old Master Yun. Yin Zhongxue asked uneasily, Old Master Fong, is it because of my body? After reading it, Old Master Yun had a similar reaction and passed it to Old Master Jing, who was the most proficient in pharmacology. The more Old Master Jing looked at it, the angrier he got. He had a bad temper to begin with and slammed the table, causing the tea to splash all over the table. Nonsense! What kind of lousy prescription is this? It looks like a pile of expensive supplements, but it's actually just a pile. It's fine if it's just a temporary solution, but this prescription is also extremely harmful to the body. If you take it for a long time, not only will it be impossible for you to get pregnant, even your internal organs and meridians will be affected. Quack. No, this kind of person doesn't deserve to be a doctor. Yin Zhongshue's face turned pale. So, it's still impossible for me to get pregnant. The netizens in the live stream were furious. Wasn't this prescription written by Vase Fairy? I want to throw a gas can at her. She's treating human life like grass. She's deliberately trying to kill someone. Oh my God, she's quite polite when she calls her teacher Yin, but I didn't expect her to be so hypocritical. It's fine if you don't know how to treat it, but why do you have to harm others? Aw, big shots, look at the doctor's brother's hand. Has his condition worsened? I'm breaking out in cold sweat. F***CK, that's right. She even performed acupuncture on Dr. Xiang. That burning sensation won't hurt his nerves even more, right? Normal acupuncture won't cause burning. The comments were filled with anger, and many netizens even began to curse Xiangyi's ancestors. At the critical moment, Shui narrowed her eyes and said in a calm voice, Mama Yin, that prescription wasn't written by Sister Yi, right? As soon as she said that, someone angrily retorted in the comments, why does Shui always defend Vase Fairy? How dare he lie like that? She clearly wrote the prescription just now. Does she think that the tens of millions of viewers in the live stream are blind? Yin Zhongxue was stunned for a moment. She quickly rummaged through her pockets and realized that there was a prescription inside. Her mind was blown, and it took her a few seconds to calm herself down. She opened it and was filled with apologies. I'm sorry. This is the prescription that little Xiangyi gave me. I'll have to trouble you guys. Oh? The little miracle-working doctor opened it? Elder Jing was the first to snatch it over and looked at it carefully. The more he looked, the brighter his eyes became. It could be called a good prescription. However, if he were to perfect the formula, it would be even more perfect. Elder Yun couldn't wait any longer. Let me see. Elder Jing turned around childishly. No. Mine. This was his future disciple, and he should be the one giving pointers. Elder Yun complained to Elder Fong. President, look at him. How can he be so domineering? Elder Fong was also a little speechless. He coughed lightly, indicating that Elder Jing should not go overboard. Only then did Elder Jing reluctantly move the prescription towards Elder Yun. Then let's look at it together. Elder Yun put on his reading glasses. The two old men, who were more than 100 years old, were full of praise as they looked at it. They were like the bootlickers in music games. This handwriting is as sweet as a tree and as gentle as a breeze. The combination of these herbs is novel and unique. This dosage is also very mild. It's best to use it to nourish the body. Thousands of words turned into a sentence that the two of them slapped their thighs in unison. Wonderful! Chapter 225. That was followed by the exclamation of wonderful. The netizens in the live stream were dumbfounded. The vase fairy wasn't the one who wrote the first prescription that was criticized? The vase fairy was the one who wrote the second prescription that was praised so highly. Not only the netizens, but the executives of Muyao TV were also about to vomit blood. The number of viewers in the live stream of Two Under One Roof had reached 10 million. The executives also received news that many national brands had begun to contact Two Under One Roof. At first, no one was interested, but now, they were scrambling for sponsorship. It was said that the highest bid had already reached 50 million yuan in sponsorship fees. And a variety show could have multiple brand sponsorships at the same time. On the other hand, eating well for all 3 meals, which they spent hundreds of millions to invite Zhua Yi and Pop Queen Zhang Yuner, still had a lukewarm 4 to 5 million viewers. At the beginning, the idea of Two Under One Roof was proposed by Li Jianyu, and Li Jianyu was forced to leave. The station head's face was dark and cold as ice as he stared at a certain figure at the conference table. That person was the executive who defended Chen Mian and forced Li Jianyu to leave. Because of his actions, the station was now losing at least a few 100 million yuan. If Li Jianyu had stayed, wouldn't the success of Two Under One Roof now belong to Muyao TV? The station head flew into a rage and told the executive to get lost on the spot. He slammed the folder in his hand and questioned, "You found Zhua Yi and Zhang Yuner for 100 million yuan? Why can't you find an artist like Xiang Yi? Isn't it just cooking, musical instruments, and Chinese medicine?" The deputy director sneered. "Then why don't you tell me how to find one? These things aren't something that can be learned in a day or two. Culinary skills are fine, but at the same time, musical instruments are rare. If you include Chinese medicine, aren't you just making things difficult for me? Even if we do find her, do you think that person will have the same conditions as the Xiangyi family's manor? Can there be a high-tech farm that creates jobs for farmers like Little Rabbit Farm? Okay, let's say there is. But who can invite a famous director, an esports god, a designer who won the Muse Award, a popular boy band, a national treasure doctor, and a divine doctor at the same time? If you can do it, why don't you do it?" A series of questions caused the scene to be deathly silent like cicadas in winter. God! Is this woman crazy? The station manager was also stunned. He never thought that the woman who had worked for him for so many years would dare to talk back to him in public. "You're just a woman. Giving you the position of deputy director is already enough of a favor for you. Yet you still don't know what's good for you." The station manager was furious, but considering her ability to work, he couldn't just fire her directly. He could only threaten her, "You're suspended without pay immediately and reflect on your mistakes. You're not allowed to come to work without my notice." The deputy director, Yuan Qing, sneered. She casually tore off the identity plate that she had treasured for many years and threw it on the table in a valiant manner. "I miss your mother. I quit." At this moment, in the manor's living room, seeing that his two old friends couldn't stop praising her, Elder Fong had no choice but to say, "Madam Yin, you don't have to worry. If you take good care of yourself according to this prescription, there's a possibility of you having a child. Forget it, I'll be more conservative with my words." He paused for a moment and felt a sense of pride. "There's a 99% chance that you'll have a child." Yin Zhangxue was pleasantly surprised. She sobbed and covered her face with her hands, crying tears of joy. Chapter 226. Shang Guang was also a little moved. He raised his hand and hugged her. "Darling, that's great. You can finally fulfill your wish." Looking at the loving couple, everyone felt happy for them from the bottom of their hearts. In the live stream, "I'm not listening, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. What the F***CK? Vase Fairy's medical skills are so brilliant? She should be really amazing. After all, These people are all giants in the Chinese medicine industry. I'm just curious how the program team managed to invite them. Li Jianyu happened to catch a glimpse of that comment and thought to himself, I really didn't invite them. The big shots are the ones who came willingly. They don't even need to pay for their appearance. It turns out that pies can come one after another. Dr. Xiang, who doesn't need money, the big shots of Chinese medicine who don't need money, and Hades, who is paying for it. He was overjoyed and he was grinning from ear to ear. Elder Feng and the other two slightly modified Xiang Yi's prescription. Xiang Yi also discussed with them the follow-up diet and recuperation plans. She had the strength to begin with, and she was also humble. One was willing to learn and the other three were willing to teach. In the blink of an eye, they had been discussing for more than half an hour. Xiang Yi benefited a lot, and the three masters also thought that the ideas she came up with were good. They were full of praise for her. By the way, masters, since you're all here, why don't you take a look at Dr. Xiang's hand? Li Jianyu suggested. He thought that with these masters around, they might be able to help Dr. Xiang's hand heal faster. The three of them naturally had no objections. Xiang Li was also very cooperative. They finished taking his pulse. Elder Jing was the first to speak. If I were to treat him, I would use the method of fighting poison with poison to stimulate him. Although I can guarantee that he will regain some feeling in his hand, I'm afraid there will be other sequelae. Elder Yun said, I'm the opposite of him. The method I can think of is too gentle, but it will take too long. You're in the scientific research field and time is too precious. I'm afraid you can't afford to delay. Elder Feng pondered for a long time before stroking his beard. This world still belongs to the young after all. This acupuncture technique is something that old people like us can't think of. Even if we can think of it, we wouldn't dare to use it carelessly. I've heard of little Xiang's hand injury before. Previously, the descendants of the 9 needles of the divine in our country had also thought of using acupuncture to treat him. However, he was already old and was afraid that his hand would be unstable. The younger generation wouldn't be able to take over, so they didn't dare to do it and delayed it for a long time. Elder Feng spoke at a leisurely pace, like a kind grandpa telling a story. Everyone listened attentively. In the end, he suddenly changed the topic. Now that I think about it, it's actually a good thing. Because my little disciple's acupuncture technique is even better. It was even more ingenious. Moreover, it would solve the root cause. It's even more effective. Everyone? What the hell? Elder Feng, did you receive money to advertise? Elder Yun and Elder Jing. I thought you were the most honorable, but I didn't expect you to be the most shameless. Elder Yun said angrily, when did little Xiang Yi become your disciple? He's obviously my disciple. Elder Jing was even more direct as he scolded. You two old fogies, stop flattering yourselves. This is the disciple I've taken a liking to. Let me tell you, don't even think about snatching her from me. The three of them quarreled more and more fiercely. The two old grandpas who were almost 200 years old were about to fight. Xiang Yi. She was quite confused. The netizens in the live stream were not only dumbfounded, but they were also stunned. Someone guessed weakly, are these three masters here to take in Xiang Yi as their disciple? Chapter 227. Someone was dumbfounded. I thought that men would only fight over Xiang Yi. I never expected that one day they would fight to take her in as their disciple. Someone even commented on the front line. F***CK. The Wuxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association posted on Weibo that there were more than a dozen traditional Chinese medicine masters who were late because they couldn't get tickets for the high-speed rail. These masters are all here to take Xiang Yi in as their disciple. One of the masters even publicly said that Elder Feng and the other two got a huge advantage because they were from Nanqing. The netizens were speechless. They never expected such a reversal. The vase fairy whom they looked down on was actually the target of all the traditional Chinese medicine masters. She wasn't the one begging to be their disciple, but the masters were begging to take her in as their disciple. Amazing. The netizens who had followed the trend to criticize Xiang Yi seemed to have been enlightened and suddenly sobered up. Thinking about it carefully, did Xiang Yi really do something unforgivable? No. She played the electric guitar for the brothers of C7 at the annual gala of Tomato Entertainment. At Mingxi Boys High School, she had cooked a heartwarming meal for the children who had suffered so much. She had even uprooted the prison that was the source of all evil. She performed acupuncture on Xiang Li and wrote a prescription for Yin Jiang Xue. She was so tired that the sweat on her forehead could soak the tissue paper. Looking back at the negative comments that they had posted, these people suddenly felt a little upset. She seemed... Not only did she not do anything outrageous, she was actually a nice girl. However, there were also people who couldn't forgive her, especially the blogger Noob Baldy PhD, who posted on Weibo. Xiang Yi, have you apologized to Dr. Xiang today? No, smiley face. He had a lot of fans to begin with and was very influential. As soon as he posted on Weibo, many people were enraged and flocked to the live stream. Wow, she's cleared her name just like that. Isn't it her duty to treat Dr. Xiang? After all, if it weren't for her, Dr. Xiang wouldn't have gotten injured. Haha. Didn't you hear that the masters know her grandfather? She's a second-generation doctor. Who knows if the masters are here to support her on account of her grandfather? Once these words were spoken, they didn't get the same response as they did in the beginning. On the contrary, Xiang Yi's fans and Untimely Couples fans stepped forward. How do you know she didn't apologize? Isn't it a traditional virtue since ancient times to admit one's mistakes and correct them? We're willing to admit Xiang Yi's mistakes, but why don't you dare to admit Xiang Yi's excellence? No one is perfect. Everyone here, ask yourselves, who hasn't made mistakes? Why do you hold Sister E to the standard of a saint, but hold yourself to the standard of a rotten person? Just as the two sides were arguing, Shui suddenly opened her mouth. Seniors, may I trouble you to take Sister Yi's pulse? The three grandpas who had already started rolling up their sleeves looked at Xiang Yi in unison. Little disciple, where are you feeling unwell? Disciple, why didn't you tell me earlier that you were feeling unwell? My beloved disciple, stretch out your hand. Don't panic. With me here, you will be cured. Xiang Yi looked at Shui in bewilderment, not understanding why he was doing that. Old Master Feng and Old Master Yun each grabbed one of Xiang Yi's hands. Old Master Jing, who was a step slower, beat his chest and stomped his feet, wishing he could release a poisonous centipede or scorpion to bite the two old men. At this moment, Shui said leisurely, Sister E has lost her memory in the past year and has only recovered recently. I'm worried if there will be any sequelae. As soon as she said that, there was an uproar in the live stream. Vase Fairy has amnesia? Chapter 228. Oh my god, art indeed comes from reality. What the F***CK? That was why it made sense. She was stupid last year because she lost her memory. Now that she has regained her memory, she's normal again. I've always liked Sister Yi's looks. I've watched all the television dramas and variety shows that she has participated in. Actually, I've guessed that she has dual personality disorder. Their personalities are really worlds apart. There was also a group of people who refused to believe it. You can even come up with an excuse like memory loss? Shui, you're awesome. As expected of a man who has won the Best Actor and Best Actor awards. Look at how natural his acting is. Little fresh meats. Come out and take a beating. Hey, what a coincidence. Not only did she lose her memory, she even selectively lost her memory. She can even recover after losing her memory. I'm impressed. Next time, she might as well say that her soul was possessed. Elder Feng and Elder Yun were extremely cautious and serious when taking her pulse. After a long time, Elder Feng said, judging from your pulse, your body is indeed still a little weak. You shouldn't work too hard in your daily life. Before he could finish, Elder Yun interjected. My dear disciple, you need to nourish your body well. Why don't you come back to the medical center with me and eat supplements for a few years? I guarantee that you'll recover from all your illnesses. Everyone was speechless. Supplements aren't supposed to be taken on a daily basis. Since when are they supposed to be taken on a yearly basis? Also, isn't it too natural for you to call me your beloved disciple? Elder Jing was displeased. Who are you looking down on? Our family may lack everything, but we don't lack good food for our little girls. My dear disciple, come with me. You'll have plenty of ginseng, bird's nest, and snow lotus. Elder Feng stroked his beard, looking otherworldly and otherworldly. However, he was extremely shameless. Disciple, since Grandpa Jing and Grandpa Yun are so enthusiastic, go to their house for 3 meals a day. After that, come back to me to learn medicine. If you can pack some 100-year-old ginseng or something for me after eating, That would be even better. Elder Jing was speechless. Elder Yun was speechless. Damn it! Why don't we order takeout for you? Xiangyi was speechless. If she didn't know how to take her own pulse, she would have thought that she was weak and on the verge of death. His body had been tormented. At most, he would be a little malnourished. After adjusting his daily routine and supplementing his diet, he would be able to recover in a month. Netizens, is it okay to use supplements to abduct Sister E online? Ha 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 ha, I love it when these old men argue with each other. They're probably the worst of friends. I suddenly realized that the choice is in Xiangyi's hands. There are so many Chinese medicine masters for her to choose from like cabbages. I'm so jealous. Hee hee, a weak body doesn't prove that you've lost your memory. No matter how amazing Chinese medicine is, it can't reverse time and reverse memory loss. At this moment, Xiangli pulled out a black-covered notebook from his backpack. The netizens in the live stream were very curious. Is the notebook of a big shot like the doctor's brother full of scientific research secrets? The next second, he opened his notebook and took out a few pieces of folded A4 paper from it. He asked politely, "Sir, I'm sorry. This is Tutu's medical record. Can it be used as a reference?" Netizens. Why would a scientific researcher, who was a national treasure, carry the medical records of a female artist in the entertainment industry with him? Following his movements, an ID photo fell out of the notebook. The camera happened to capture the photo. A young girl with 2 ponytails and no makeup was smiling sweetly at the camera. Damn it, why does this woman look exactly like Xiangyi? Chapter 229. Apart from Shi Sui, no one else at the scene noticed this little episode. Xiangli calmly picked up the ID photo and put it back into his notebook as if nothing had happened. The netizens watching the live stream were extremely excited. Does Xiangli fancy Xiangyi? I think Xiangli doesn't look at Sister E the way a man looks at a woman. Instead, it's the way a brother looks at his sister. Speaking of that, I, a fan of the untimely couple, can't help but say that Shi Sui is staring at his wife like a maniac today. The 3 masters studied Xiangyi's medical record. Amnesia is a disease caused by trauma to the brain. One's consciousness, memory, identity, or normal integration with the environment are all damaged. Old Mr. Fong frowned and said, "At present, there are no clear treatment measures for amnesia, and acupuncture therapy is not very mature either." Old Mr. Fong continued, "However, since she can recover, it means that her condition is improving. She just has to pay more attention in the future and slowly recuperate." With the medical record as evidence and old Mr. Fong's statement, the public opinion in the live stream was completely reversed. So it's because of amnesia. It's been so hard on Xiangyi. She's taking the blame for herself. No wonder her personality is so different. When she lost her memory previously, she was really annoying. Now that she has regained her memory, she's quite adorable. Many netizens had accepted the fact that Xiangyi had lost her memory for a year. However, there were also some who couldn't accept it. They've really put in a lot of effort to clear Vase Fairy's name. Even if she has amnesia, she's still the same person. It means that she's just pretending to be gentle on the surface. She's subconsciously AB*TCH. TSKSK, after a murderer kills someone, can he also say that he killed someone because he lost his memory and shouldn't be responsible for it now that he's awake? In the manner. Xiangli naturally put his arm around Xiangyi's shoulder and thanked old Mr. Fong and the others. "Thank you so much, seniors." Xiangyi twisted her neck stiffly and looked at him in disbelief. Xiangli suddenly flicked her forehead and said, "I'm sorry, it's my fault." "Ha! Why is Xiangli apologizing to me? It's my uselessness that caused our tutu to be misunderstood. If I was a little stronger, I wouldn't have hurt my hand." Xiangyi panicked. "No, it's because..." She suddenly froze, not knowing how to explain. Xiangli tried to smooth things over. "When you lost your memory, your mind was like that of a toddler. If I didn't save you, the consequences would have been unimaginable. You were scared out of your wits at that time. I didn't take those words to heart. I've never regretted saving you. Everything was a rational choice. I hope you won't blame yourself for it. It's just a hand. It's not as important as your life." He said it casually, as if the suffering he had suffered in the past year was nothing at all. Xiangyi's eyes reddened. "Second brother. Was he going to take all the responsibility on himself? The netizens in the live stream were also stunned. No way, right? Is Dr. Gidge so lovey-dovey? The next second, don't cry. His tone was helpless and gentle as he gently rubbed his finger against the tears at the corners of her eyes. Coaxing you is much harder than solving problems. Others may think that you're a bad person, but in my eyes, our Tutu is the best sister in the world. Chapter 230. After a few seconds of silence in the comment section, a dizzying barrage of pop-up comments flooded in. Brother? Biological brother? This is going to be the hottest topic of the year. I told you they're biological siblings. Exactly, Xiangli and Xiangyi sound like their family. Stop trying to be wise after the fact. You guys were the ones who scolded them the most just now. How pretentious. Were you born in a plastic bag? All the clamor seemed to have been paused. Xiangyi raised her little face and stared at her second brother in front of her in a daze. Tears welled up in her eyes and she tried her best to hold them back. However, the moment he coaxed her, tears welled up in her eyes. She was actually really not that strong. In front of outsiders, she could remain calm no matter how aggrieved she was. However, in front of her brother, she couldn't keep her cool at all. As soon as his sister started crying, Xiangli immediately panicked. He was indeed not good at coaxing girls. All he knew was to pat her back clumsily, again and again, patiently and gently. Shui remained silent and turned to the side to block the camera for her. However, she didn't disturb her and Xiangli. Do you want some candy? Xiangli asked as he took out a milk candy from his trouser pocket. Shui was speechless. Looking at the familiar brand of milk candy, his eyebrows twitched. Is giving out candy a coaxing technique that's been passed down in the Xiang family for generations? Xiangyi sobbed and said, I just want to cry. As soon as she spoke, the hearts of the fans in the live stream melted. I declare that from now on, I'm a mommy fan. Damn. Sister E is so meek in front of her brother. I really want to rub her in. I understand, Xiang E. I'm in the advertising industry and I can smile even when I'm scolded by clients and leaders every day. However, whenever my mother calls me and asks if I've eaten, I cry. On the other hand, the blogger named Noob Baldy PhD immediately deleted several long Weibo posts that berated Xiangyi. In front of the screen, he felt extremely guilty. He was not a fan of Dr. X at all. He had deliberately pretended to be a fan of Dr. X and was just trying to attract more traffic. After those few Weibo posts, his Weibo had gained hundreds of thousands of followers. It was even more than the number of fans he had accumulated over the years of running Weibo. In this era where traffic could be converted into cash, this meant that his Weibo could receive more promotions and earn more money. He originally thought that he was quite smart, and the feeling of standing on the moral high ground to judge others was really too good. Who would have thought that Xiangyi was Dr. X's biological sister? In this way, his indignant denunciation had all become a joke. But Dr. X and Xiangyi were both so busy, so no one would argue with him, right? Thinking up to this point, Baldy decided to get lucky and registered a Smurf account. Since the number of views on the anti-celebrities Weibo was so high, why would he still want to be a campus treehole blogger? 10 minutes later. The wind at dusk was chilly, and everyone was cooling off in the pavilion of the manor. Xiangyi had already gotten a grip on her emotions. After calming down, she felt a little embarrassed. She actually cried in front of so many people. A piece of watermelon was suddenly stuffed into her hand. She looked up and made eye contact with Shui's deep and narrow peach blossom-shaped eyes. He smiled and said, "Have a piece of watermelon to hydrate yourself." Feeling a little embarrassed, Xiangyi said, "Thank you." She held the watermelon and nibbled on it. Little did she know how excited the fans of the couple were. Shui cut the sweetest part of the watermelon and gave it to Sister E. Rounding it up, this was the wedding candy. Open your mouths and eat the candy. Chapter 231. Mommy, I'm so jealous. Sister E looks like a little bunny when she's eating the melon obediently. Just now, Shui blocked the camera for Tutu. Previously, he also blocked the camera for Tutu when she was sad. This man is really considerate. Woo! What the hell is a big cotton padded jacket? Are you trying to make me laugh to death so that you can inherit my emoji package? At this moment, the top cultists collectively went out to fight, refusing to let go of any candy. Although there were still some haters, they were soon drowned out. Elder Fong and the other two took a tour of the manor and were about to leave, but they smelled the aroma of food wafting from the kitchen. Elder Yun was proficient in the art of food therapy. After smelling a few Chinese herbs, he clicked his tongue and said, "Since my beloved disciple is making medicinal cuisine, I'll force myself to stay for dinner." The netizens were dumbfounded. "Sorry, Grandpa. You don't look like you're forcing yourself to stay. You look like you're very willing." Elder Jing sneered. "She's obviously my obedient disciple." Seeing that the two of them were about to argue again, Elder Fong suddenly said, "Why don't we accept her as our disciple together? Wouldn't that be perfect?" Elder Yun thought for a few seconds and said, "I'll think about it." Although Elder Jing didn't agree, he didn't argue, which was rare. However, the netizens in the live stream didn't think much of it. They thought that Elder Yun and Elder Jing were just giving Elder Fong face and didn't turn them down directly. As the dishes that Xiangyi had prepared were served one after another, the number of viewers in the live stream of Two Under One Roof also increased. The foodies had arrived. Countless people had prepared their meals or ordered takeout, accompanied by drinks and snacks. They were all staring at the screen and swallowing their saliva. Braised pork with thick oil and red sauce. Tender and glossy steamed pork ribs with garlic, light and delicious fish head tofu soup. There were vegetarian dishes, dry fried mushrooms, cold shredded bamboo shoots, and so on, which filled the entire table. There were also two medicinal cuisines, one of which was the American ginseng lean meat soup from Elder Yun's medicinal cuisine guidebook, while the other was Xiangyi's original casserole soup. Elder Fong and Elder Jing picked up their chopsticks reservedly, but when they tasted the first dish, they paused in unison. "My obedient disciple's cooking skills." Elder Yun impatiently tasted the two medicinal cuisines. The American ginseng double snow lean meat soup was improved based on his medicinal cuisine recipe. It tasted better. As for the casserole soup, through the combination of food and fine cooking, it looked, smelled, and tasted perfect. He had truly achieved the point where medicine borrowed the taste of food, and food aided the medicine's medicinal properties. Bitter medicine had turned into delicious medicine. After drinking 2 bowls of soup, Elder Yun suddenly put down his bowl with a solemn expression. Xiangyi said gently, "Grandpa Yun? Is the food not to your liking? Why are you calling me Grandpa Yun?" Elder Yun pretended to be angry. "Call me Master." Elder Jing was anxious. "You're really annoying." However, Elder Yun said earnestly, "Come, my beloved disciple, this is your second master." "Elder Jing?" Elder Yun turned his head and looked at Elder Fong. Elder Fong suddenly had a bad premonition. As expected, Elder Yun made a gesture. "That's your third master." In the live stream, "Is old Yun crazy? How can he accept a disciple like this?" That's right, other people have a master with a few disciples. How can there be a few masters with a disciple? Damn, Elder Yun is probably tricking others. Elder Jing and Elder Fong are such proud people, especially Elder Jing, who has a bad temper. He'll definitely refuse. In the next second, Elder Jing, who had never said anything good in his life, held back for a long time before saying, "Old man, you're really likable." The netizens? Chapter 232. Fong Lao picked up a piece of red braised pork with his chopsticks. The thick sauce wrapped around the pork, and the juices splashed out when he took a bite. The sweet and fresh taste permeated every bit of the meat. He squinted his eyes in satisfaction and enjoyed it for a moment before he said slowly, "You're right. In terms of age, I'm the oldest, so you should call me Master. Second brother, third brother, you should call me eldest brother." The netizens? Why? Why did Elder Fong, the president of the Chinese Medicine Association, fall for her? Xiangyi, who suddenly had 3 masters, was speechless. The girl didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Grandpa Fong, Grandpa Yun, Grandpa Jing, although I'm very interested in medical skills, I'm afraid I don't have time to learn recently. Since she had promised to record Two Under One Roof, she had to do what she said. Otherwise, it would make things difficult for Shi Sui and Li Jianyu. Elder Jing looked around and said, "The scenery here is beautiful and the air is pleasant. I can stay here and teach my beloved disciple some medical skills." Elder Yun, "Yes, it's quiet here and suitable for meditation." Elder Fong, "Little disciple, you won't dislike me, right? Sigh, we're old men. It's inevitable that people will dislike us. Xiangyi hurriedly said, "That's not what I meant. Grandpa, you can stay as long as you want. I'm just afraid that I won't be good enough and will let you down." Elder Fong had been waiting for her to say that. He winked at his entourage and someone immediately brought over a brocade box and respectfully placed it in front of Xiangyi. Xiangyi opened the box to see a piece of high-quality ginseng inside. At a glance, it was at least a few decades-old wild ginseng. "Grandpa Fong, I can't." Xiangyi wanted to decline politely, but she heard Elder Fong say calmly, "It's a gift for you. You can eat it as a snack. It's not something expensive." The netizens? Eat ginseng as a snack? I'm kneeling to the big boss. Those who don't know better would think he gave her a carrot. I've seen a ginseng of similar size sold for 6 figures. Elder Yun also had someone bring over a gift, a box of Tianshan snow lotus. Before Xiangyi could open her mouth, he calmly said, "Don't be so courteous with your master. Drink the flower tea to dispel coldness, remove moisture, and beautify your complexion." The netizens were speechless. Snow lotus, flower tea. Forget it, I'll turn my mic off. Only Elder Jing's eyes widened like copper bells. Ah, these two scheming old men. You actually prepared a greeting gift behind my back. He had never fawned over anyone in his entire life, and he didn't know the ways of the world. How could he have thought of bringing a greeting gift for his obedient disciple? Seeing the little girl's flattered look in front of the ginseng and snow lotus, Elder Jing's heart ached. What kind of good thing was this? What was there to be at a loss about accepting such a small thing? The old man snorted and took out a card from the pocket of his tang suit. "Here, swipe whatever you want to eat at our restaurant." The card he pulled out was the Ji Shi Tang Pharmacy's nationwide internal card. Netizens commented. At this moment, old Jing looks like the overbearing grandfather of the overbearing CEO in novels. Elder Fong. Elder Yun. Oh no, I've been outdone. Elder Jing put his hands in the pockets of his tang suit. He first glared fiercely at Elder Fong and Elder Yun, then looked at Xiangyi and smiled childishly. Chapter 233. Xiangyi did not want to dampen their spirits, so she had no choice but to accept the gifts from her grandfathers. Oh no, her masters. She thought to herself that she would give them a suitable gift in the future. Seeing that the young lady had accepted the gifts, the 3 masters heaved a sigh of relief. This meant that the young lady had acknowledged them. The atmosphere at the dining table became more harmonious. Suddenly, there was a strange sound coming from the depths of the garden. Xiangyi was about to check it out when she acutely noticed that a few agile shadows had emerged from the dark. The nature of Xiang Li's work was special, and Elder Fong and the others were influential masters in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. Simply put, the only thing the manor lacked today was the bodyguards of these big shots. Soon, more than 10 boys with dusty faces were carried over as if they were little chicks. "Reporting. These people are sneaking around and trying to barge in," said a stern and cold voice. Rong Huai was the first to retort. "Who's sneaking around? Don't slander us." "Then why didn't you leave the front door open?" "I have a legitimate reason to suspect you." "Tell me, what's your motive?" Xiangyi got up in time. "I know them." Rong Huai and the rest were then released. "What's going on? Are you interrogating us like we're criminals?" Rong Huai muttered softly. When he saw Xiangyi's face, he suddenly felt guilty and whispered, "Sister, we don't have any ill intentions. We just wanted to come and see you before we leave." After a few hours of construction work, Mingxi Boys High School was almost done. Most of the children had been taken home by their parents. However, there were also children like Rong Huai who did not want to go home but had nowhere to go. Probably because of the fledgling complex, they all had similar subtle feelings for Xiangyi. It was as if they could draw a sense of security from her. Xiangyi crossed her arms. "It's already so late. Are you going to stay out all night? Wait here obediently. I'll arrange for a car to send you home." "You don't have to arrange it. It's not like we don't know how to take a taxi," Rong Huai retorted. The little wolf cub was quite fierce and intimidating at first glance. In the next second, rumble! Rong Huai's stomach growled. The atmosphere became extremely awkward. Xiangyi turned her face away. She tried to hold it in for a few seconds, but in the end, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. As soon as she laughed, even Rong Huai's underlings, betrayed him and laughed mercilessly. Rong Huai's ears turned red as he gritted his teeth. What's so funny? It's not funny at all. Little did she know that the netizens in the live stream were laughing like crazy. Ha ha ha, incompetent rage. Little brother must be shy. He wants to see sister E bully him. Seconded. Although I like E who is meek and gentle in front of her brother, I like E even more when she's cool in front of her brother. Xiangyi finally managed to control her expression. Ahem, you didn't have dinner? A child in the crowd said shyly. This place is too remote. There's no place to eat nearby. When Xiangyi heard this, she said helplessly, then we'll leave after we finish eating. Go to the tool room and get a stool for each of us to sit here. Rong Huai recalled how tired she looked when she was cooking in the afternoon and immediately panicked. Who wants to eat your cooking? I don't want to eat at all. Someone behind him said, but you ate 8 buns made by sister for lunch, and even poured out the last few drops of seaweed and egg drop soup. Rong Huai yelled. Aw, shut up. Chapter 234. He turned around and met Xiangyi's smiling eyes. Rong Huai tugged at his pants and said in a low voice, it's not that I ate too much, it's just that the buns you made are too small. It's so small that it's gone in 2 bites. What's wrong with eating 8? Xiangyi's eyes were clear, as if they were filled with clear moonlight. She smiled and said, it's okay to eat a little more. You'll only grow taller if you eat more. Hearing her words, Rong Huai quietly straightened his back. With so many people around, there definitely wouldn't be enough for dinner, and it would take more time to cook something else. Xiangyi thought about it and asked, can we have barbecue? I'll go prepare the ingredients, and you guys can barbecue yourselves. The group of children obviously had no objections. After a while, Xiangyi came over with a few plates of meat. Rong Huai and the rest also brought out the barbecue rack and small stools from the tool room. They lit up the smokeless charcoal and brushed oil on the barbecue pan, after which they could start barbecuing. The pork belly, mutton, and beef were cut into thin slices and cooked in a short while. They were then brushed with Xiangyi's barbecue sauce. If they wanted to eat spicy food, they could even roll it in chili powder and stuff it into their mouths. This taste was awesome. Looking at these young and lively youths gobbling down the meat, the carefree Yin Jiangxue felt a lump in her throat. She leaned on her husband's shoulder and whispered, this is great. Children should eat well. Shang Guang held her hand gently without a word. Shi Sui and Xiang Li sat next to each other. Sister E is so nice, Shi Sui said. Xiang Li snorted and said, my tutu is nice to begin with. Touch one. It had to be said that Shi Sui had a firm grasp of the Xiang family's personalities. For example, Xiang Li seemed to be intelligent and flawless, but in fact, he was especially fond of alcohol. However, due to the nature of his job, he couldn't drink often. Hence, although Xiang Li was very displeased with Shi Sui, she toasted with him. Shi Sui lowered her eyes and drank the wine. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and there was a trace of a triumphant smile in her eyes. She raised her hand and turned off the microphone. She deliberately lowered her voice and said in a lazy and magnetic voice, second brother-in-law, since you've drunk the wine, when do you think it's appropriate for me to deliver the betrothal gift? Xiang Li. You want to marry my tutu? Xiang Li also turned off the microphone and sneered. Do you think I'm dead? Shi Sui looked into his eyes. His long and narrow peach blossom eyes curved outwards. He always looked very affectionate when he looked at others. He was very good at acting innocent and pure. Then, it's not impossible for Tutu to marry me. Xiang Li. F*CKU. Have some shame. He had never seen such a shameless person. In fact, Shi Sui knew that she couldn't hide it from Xiang Li, so she decided to come clean. Xiang Qi had a chance to see his feelings for Xiangyi when they met. As for Xiang Feng, with Xiang Feng's IQ, he would probably only be able to see it on the day of the baby shower. A slender figure appeared next to him. It was Xiangyi who had returned from preparing the ingredients. Shi Sui chuckled. Thank you for your hard work. It's nothing. I just cut some meat. They washed the vegetables themselves. Xiang Li suddenly stood up and patted Shi Sui on the shoulder. Change seats with me. Bastard. Don't even think about coveting my sister. Shi Sui kindly changed seats with him. Soon, Xiang Li began to tease his sister. The kid you were talking to just now was quite handsome. Xiangyi. Fortunately, brother, you're the most handsome. Xiangli raised the corners of his mouth. Then, he lowered them and asked a question. Then, who's more handsome, me or Shui? Xiangyi. Chapter 235. She was obviously hesitating. When her cherry lips moved slightly and she was about to speak, Xiangli sneered. Is this something that you need to hesitate about? Shouldn't she immediately blurt out that her brother is the most handsome person in the world? I just think that you two are both handsome in your own ways. Xiangyi, who had a strong desire to survive, tried to salvage the situation. But I think you're the most handsome. Shui, who had changed seats, happened to form a corner with Xiangyi's seat. Hence, he could see all of her movements and expressions without any scruples. Hearing her words, he raised his eyebrows. Xiangyi turned her face and stole a glance at Shui, only to accidentally make eye contact with him. That was awkward. She then corrected herself. Brother Shui, you're very handsome too. Especially handsome. Ha ha. Xiangli laughed coldly. The live stream viewers burst into laughter because of the conversation between the three of them. Ha ha ha, Sister E is so cute when she's caught in a dilemma. My PhD. Brother actually has such a childish side? I don't believe it. Indeed, men are like children who never grow up. Xiangyi has had a hard time taking care of Xiangyi today. Xiangyi was conflicted for a while before asking weakly, Brother, do you think Brother Shui is handsome? Xiangli said. He's ugly. Shui's expression remained unchanged. However, Xiangyi said seriously, Brother, you're stepping on him. It's wrong to praise him and step on him. Walla, Xiangli's heart cracked. She's protecting that dog of a man just like that? Also, you're obviously lying through your teeth. Brother Shui is indeed very handsome. Walla lala, Xiangli's heart was completely shattered. Xiangli was furious. He picked up the glass of wine and downed it in one gulp. Xiangyi was a little nervous. Brother, are you angry? A certain actor's entire body was filled with the fragrance of green tea. Sister E, it's all my fault. I made Xiangli unhappy. Don't worry about it. Just let him do whatever he wants. I don't mind at all. Xiangyi said subconsciously, how can I blame you? Xiangli became even angrier. Feng Lao and the others were all young. After the meal, they chatted for a while before Xiangyi took them to the guest room to rest. The group of youths were still barbecuing, but Yin Zhangxue was talking to Rong Huai. No one knew what they were talking about, but Rong Huai suddenly looked at Shui and stared at her for a few seconds before quickly looking away. Rong, your face is made for the big screen. You should really consider entering the entertainment industry. Yin Zhangxue said with a smile. Perhaps it was fate, but she found Rong Huai particularly pleasing to the eye. She could not help but give him a few pointers. I heard that your cultural results are not particularly good. If you start preparing for the arts exam now, you can make it in time. Rong Huai pursed his lips and said sullenly, Thank you, I'll consider it seriously. He was a little hooligan, but he could tell right from wrong. He could sense Yin Zhangxue's kindness. Let's add each other on WeChat. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask Auntie. After the two of them added each other as friends, Rong Huai suddenly asked softly, Auntie Yin, can I become as capable as him? He refused to say Shui's name awkwardly, but his eyes landed on Shui. Yin Zhangxue touched the wolf cub's head and said, Anything is possible, but, are you interested in acting? I can recommend a few schools to you then. Rong Huai did not answer, but he already had an answer in his heart. He just wanted to be closer to someone, just a little closer. Until standing at a position where he could stand shoulder to shoulder with her. Chapter 236. It was getting late at night. Xiangyi came out of the villa, only to find that the courtyard was still too dark with only a few street lamps and the lights from the production crew. She went to the tool room and dug out a few handmade lanterns that she and her brothers used to make. Rong Huai and the others came over. Wow, there are actually lanterns with candles now? Sister, do you want to hang this? Do you want a ladder? Xiangyi said. No, you can just pass it to me. Ha! But can you reach it? Before he finished speaking, Xiangyi climbed up a tree skillfully, her movements as fast as those in Wuxia movies. The teenagers? The netizens? Are you there? Xiang Yi, do you know that your fairy persona has been ruined? Damn! I thought Sameo Gu and Sanmao Gu were fast enough, but I didn't expect Sister Yi to be the fastest. I suddenly remembered that Xiang Yi got injured because he went rock climbing with Xiang Yi. The Xiang family actually has such an ancestral skill. If you don't share it, you're not Chinese. The group of boys opened their mouths so wide that eggs could almost be stuffed in. Xiang Yi said calmly, "Give me the lantern." Rong Huai, who was the tallest, handed her a lantern in a daze. She hung it up, lit it, and then, Xiang Yi climbed to the next tree. After hanging the lantern, the courtyard not only became brighter, but it also added a touch of warmth. The warm light of the lantern spread out, and a few moths gathered and bumped into it without hesitation. It was rare for Xiang Li to indulge himself that night. He drank too much and leaned back on the recliner in a drunken stupor. The top 2 buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing some of his fair skin and thin collarbones. The red mole at the end of his eye looked even more alluring. Xiang Yi drank a lot with him too. Although her head was dizzy, she was somehow sober. Yin Jiangxue picked up a ukulele. She hadn't touched a musical instrument in a long time and her hands were a little rusty. She stumbled as she played the ukulele. "I have to practice more so that I can sing it for our baby in the future," she said in an expectant tone. Shang Guang clapped for her with a smile in his eyes. From beginning to end, she was the only one in his eyes. The lights were warm and the wind was gentle. It was truly a beautiful night. It made one's heart soften. After Yin Jiangxue finished playing a song, she wanted to put the ukulele back, but Xiang Yi took it. She plucked the strings a few times and adjusted the tuning slightly. Rong Huai and the others' eyes lit up. The group of little brats didn't even bother to eat the meat as they eagerly surrounded the pavilion. Li Jianyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Hey, you guys are blocking Sister Yi's camera." The children were laughing and joking, pushing each other and chasing each other away. They quickly made way. In the live stream. Is Sister Yi going to sing? Boo-hoo, these kids are like 2 different people from the day. They're laughing. They must really like Sister Yi. They're afraid of blocking the camera, so they're tiptoeing to get a closer look. It's so annoying. I want to cry again, cack. A simple and pleasant prelude sounded. The ukulele's unique clear tone might not be that impactful at first, but it was inexplicably harmonious with the warm night. The red sun rises, its bright light the river flows out, a vast ocean. The girl began to sing lazily, but her voice instantly captured everyone's ears. She lowered her eyebrows, her small figure immersed in a half-lit corner, but she was a dazzling presence in the crowd. "The young have their own youthful arrogance. My body is like the mountains and rivers. My spine I dare to measure the sun and moon." Xiang Yi looked up at the teenagers outside the pavilion and smiled gently. She hummed gently as if she was coaxing a child, but it had an incomparably shocking power. "My heart is like the blazing sun, shining brightly no matter how difficult it is to stop me today. I am the only young man." The last chord fell. The surroundings were so quiet that one could almost hear the rustling of the wind and the falling petals. Chapter 237. Even the comment section of the live stream had decreased significantly. There was a moment of silence. The comment section of the live stream exploded. "I'm crying out loud. I don't know why, but I just feel like crying." I suddenly realized that the female celebrity Xiang. No, her name is Xiang Yi. I'm praising Sister Yi so much. She's beautiful, sweet, and heartwarming. No wonder Rong Huai and the other kids would come to see her. She's so healing. In the courtyard, Rong Huai stared blankly at the girl not far away, his heart pounding rapidly. This was the first time he had truly felt his own existence. Behind him, the boys who were easily moved to tears began to cry, and those who didn't had their eyes reddened. She didn't sing such a hot-blooded song at all, but it was so gentle that it had the power to move people's hearts. It turned out that they weren't children abandoned by the world. It turned out that they could also have a little bit of light, a little bit of hope, and a little bit of dreams. They were still youths with limitless possibilities. Their hearts were like blazing suns. Even Li Jianyu couldn't help but wipe away his tears. In the beginning, he still had some doubts about Shui's invitation to Xiang Yi to appear on Two Under One Roof. However, he now understood that it wasn't Two Under One Roof that made Xiang Yi successful. It was Xiang Yi who made Two under one roof happen. The live stream ended for the day. Rong Huai and the others also got into the car and left safely. Before they left, they cleaned up the yard and even took away the trash. It was as if they didn't want there to be any filth in Xiang Yi's house. Everyone returned to their rooms. Xiang Li had really had too much to drink, so much so that he was walking unsteadily. Although Shi Sui bickered with him, he still treated him as a friend. Hence, he helped him back to his room. When Shi Sui came out of the bathroom after taking a shower, his gaze darted to the bed. Something's wrong. He frowned and strode forward, lifting the blanket roughly. However, after seeing who it was, he paused in his actions. It was Xiang Yi. The girl was curled up into a ball and sleeping obediently. Shi Sui was speechless. He carelessly wiped his hair a few times and said with some helplessness and amusement, "That's true. Even the big drunkard is drunk. How could the little drunkard not be drunk? She was probably drunk when she was singing." No wonder she smiled so sweetly to everyone, especially that little brat named Rong Rong. Shi Sui's gaze fell on the girl's delicate face. She was hugging a pillow and breathing evenly. Her hair was scattered on her cheeks. Shi Sui raised her hand and brushed it away for her. "Aren't you too trusting of me?" Shi Sui chuckled. "You even dared to enter my room and climb into my bed." He wasn't afraid that he wouldn't be human anymore. "You?" Shi Sui sighed and stared deeply at Xiang Yi for a few seconds. The emotions in her eyes were thick, and the light in her eyes was obscure. He patted the girl's shoulder twice. "Wake up. Go back to your room and sleep." The little girl who was sleeping soundly snorted and turned over angrily. As she moved, her blouse rolled up, revealing the milky white and delicate skin at the back of her waist. It was very dazzling. Shi Sui's Adam's apple moved. He closed his eyes, covered the girl with a blanket, and prepared to find a guest room to make do for the night. Just as he walked to the door, the crisp sound of the door being locked suddenly rang out, accompanied by the sneer of a drunk genius professor. "I'll lock the door for you. Let's see how you dare to seduce my sister." Shi Sui was speechless. Then, there was the sound of Xiang Li's messy footsteps and the sound of him bumping into something and falling on the carpet. He could vaguely hear his ravings. "I have to protect my sister." Shi Sui was speechless. Chapter 238. This makes people very fascinated. The man pressed his eyebrows and suddenly chuckled. "Fine. Sleep if you want. Lock if you want. Let nature take its course. Everything is the best arrangement." After giving himself a few words of encouragement, Shi Sui turned back and lingered by the bed for a few seconds. Some thoughts of not wanting to be a human flashed through his mind. In the end, Shi Sui still turned off the lights, picked up the script on the bedside table, and sat down on the single-seater sofa by the floor-to-ceiling window. He turned on a small night light and flipped through the script with his well-defined fingers. Shi Sui was still hesitating about this movie. The script was extremely well written. The most holy and flawless church was occupied by a flower of evil. The darkest and most humid mental hospital had the only bright color in the entire movie. The plot line followed the criminal reasoning route. It was intertwined and every supporting character had a high IQ. The emotional line was a scene between a high IQ priest criminal and a psychiatrist. It started with a playful game of cat and mouse and ended with a regretful tragedy. It was full of drama. In all fairness, Shi Sui wanted to take on this script. However, he couldn't act in an emotional scene. It wasn't a problem of acting. It was a psychological problem. He resisted all close contact with women, and it had become a psychological barrier. Director Yen had tried several methods before, but Shi Sui vomited after a single pat. It didn't work at all, so he could only give up in the end. Other scripts were fine, but in this script, if the character of the doctor was deleted, or if the doctor's part was deleted, the whole film would lose some kind of balance, and it would not meet the artistic expression that the director wanted. Therefore, he either had to overcome the psychological barrier of acting in the opposite role, or give up this good script. Shi Sui was having a headache. The little girl on the bed probably felt hot and kicked the quilt away. "She's quite dishonest." Shi Sui shook his head, put down the script, and got up to cover her with the quilt. The little girl drunkenly called out, "Xiao Naofu, everything!" She looked around for the cat in a daze. She didn't touch Xiao Naofu, but she touched Shi Sui's hand. She rubbed her soft and slender fingers tentatively a few times. Then, as if she sensed that something was wrong, she opened her eyes. The world spun before her eyes. She tried hard to focus and finally recognized the man in front of her. "Why are you here?" Shui raised her eyebrows and indulged her behavior. "Who am I?" "My child." "What?" "Zai." Xiangyi looked at him innocently. "Why are you here?" "This is where Xiao Naofu sleeps." To emphasize, she patted the pillow on the other side. Shui licked her lips. "Then where do you think I should sleep?" It was too difficult for a drunk person to make a logical analysis. Xiangyi felt her head hurt even more. She mumbled, "You slept in the cat bed." Shui was so angry that she laughed. "Is there such a big cat nest?" The little girl said in an imposing manner, "I'll ask my third brother to make one for you." Shui, "Okay, I'll wait. You go back to sleep." He leaned over to pick up the quilt, but the girl was lying on the edge of the bed. Her cheeks were half pressed against the black sheets, which made her skin look even fairer. The drunk girl spoke slowly and more softly than usual. You look good." Shui simply sat cross-legged on the ground and looked at her calmly. "Then, between me and your brother, who looks better?" Xiangyi frowned, looking like she was about to be forced to do business again. Chapter 239. She shrank back and dodged his gaze. I am sleepy." Shui grabbed the pillow in her arms. The little girl was drunk and weak and couldn't move at all. The two were in a stalemate. After more than 10 seconds, the girl sighed helplessly. "Okay then I'll tell you alone." "Okay. Then you're not allowed to tell anyone else." "Okay." The man looked at Xiangyi affectionately and gently. Xiangyi whispered, "You and brother are both good-looking, but I think you're the most good-looking, because I like you." Whoosh. The ambiguous atmosphere fermented uncontrollably in the air, and the room seemed to have heated up, adding a sense of irritation. Shui raised his hand and rubbed the back of the girl's neck. He coaxed, "Say it again." Xiangyi was drowsy. She murmured in a soft voice, "I'm really sleepy. You said you like me." After a pause, the man smiled. "You even said you want me to be your boyfriend." Xiangyi protested softly, "I didn't. I said I like your face." Her mouth was sealed by the man's palm, and her soft lips were pressed against his warm palm. The girl blinked her long eyelashes. "I'll think about it and give you an answer." Shui looked like he was in a difficult position. "TSK, you don't know how popular brother is." There seemed to be something wrong. However, Xiangyi was too sleepy. Her eyelids drooped, and she mumbled a few words before falling asleep. Shui's deep eyes were mixed with dark emotions. His clear Adam's apple bobbed visibly. His gaze lingered on the girl's lips for a few seconds. He rubbed his fingers against them and smiled. "What should I do? Brother really doesn't want to be a good person." The sky was slightly bright, and the morning stars were sparse. Xiangyi gradually regained consciousness, but she felt a faint headache. She sat up and habitually rubbed Xiao Naofu beside her pillow. It wasn't the usual fluffy and warm feeling. Instead, Xiangyi's eyes widened, and she was no longer sleepy. How could it be Shui? With a guilty conscience, she tried to quietly withdraw her hand, but her wrist was firmly grasped. Then, Shui slowly opened her eyes and squinted at her lazily. "Don't panic, it's just a small matter." "Aw, like hell." However, Xiangyi had been through so many worlds. She was mentally strong. She said calmly, "Good morning." She thought that as long as she was calm enough, Shui would be the one panicking. Unexpectedly, the man's voice was tired and hoarse, soft and light, like a feather that tickled her heart. "Good morning. Sister E, why are you in my room? Are you still on my bed?" Xiangyi had an inexplicable feeling that she was a scumbag who didn't take responsibility after defiling the other party. "Ahem, if I say that I'm here to tuck you in, would you believe me?" Shui raised her eyebrows. Xiangyi felt guilty and uneasy. After a while, Shui let go of her wrist, as if believing her. "I see. I'm really a little genius with quick reflexes." Xiangyi smiled. "Then have a good rest, I won't disturb you." She jumped off the bed and didn't even bother to put on her slippers. Her fair feet stepped on the wooden floor as she hurried out. Shi Sui rested her chin on her elbow and looked at her with a half-smile. Xiangyi turned the doorknob. She didn't turn it. She froze, but the man's slightly flustered voice sounded behind her. It's just a blanket. Is there a need to lock the door? Sister EU. What are you going to do to me? Chapter 240. Xiangyi was completely dumbfounded. At the thought of her uncle Xiaofan singing in a tree when he was drunk, a look of horror appeared in her eyes. Did she also get drunk and go crazy? For example, breaking into Shi Sui's room and taking advantage of him sleeping. Oh, what did she do last night? If you like Big Brother, you can just tell me. Shi Sui sat up straight and slowly put on his glasses. You don't have to be so scheming. Xiangyi. She turned her head and found that Shi Sui's pajamas were in a mess and he looked aggrieved and helpless. Xiangyi hesitated for a few seconds, then silently stepped forward and covered Shi Sui with a blanket. Shi Sui raised his eyebrows. Huh? Do you want to go take a shower? Xiangyi recalled the romance novels she had read with Xiao Naofu when she was bored. Although you may not be clean anymore, please don't cry, okay? I will be responsible for you. Let me think about it. The development of this matter was beyond Shi Sui's expectations. He lowered his eyelashes to hide the smile in his eyes and replied, Then I'll go take a shower. In the living room. When Xiangli woke up, he was in a daze. He fumbled around and found his glasses, only to realize that he was in his room. He seemed to have fallen last night and the bodyguards had sent him back. Thinking of his perfect lock, the corners of Xiang Li's mouth curved up. As expected of me. The next second, the phone next to his pillow vibrated. He picked it up and saw that it was a message from his sister. Tutu. Brother. Tutu. Brother, I did something wrong. What should I do /cry? Xiangli frowned and typed with one hand. Don't cry, speak slowly. Tutu. I drank too much last night and walked into the wrong room /cry. Seeing this, Xiangli suddenly had an ominous feeling. Where are you? Buzz, Tutu. I'm in Brother Shi Sui's room. Xiangli. He threw off the quilt and rushed to Shi Sui's room. The door was still locked, but he had no time to look for the key. He called for his bodyguards and used brute force to break in. Xiangyi was startled by the noise, and her phone almost fell to the ground. Xiangli was furious. He grabbed his sister's wrist and walked out. Just then, the bathroom door opened. Shi Sui was only wearing a pair of black sweatpants. His body was well-proportioned, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His abdominal muscles were well-defined, and his V-line lines snaked into the black pants. As he dried his hair, the smooth muscles of his forearms became more and more obvious. The man blinked his peach blossom eyes and dragged his voice. Sister E, I'm done. Have you thought about it? Xiangli roared. Put on your clothes. What kind of scandal is this? Only then did Shi Sui slowly pick up the thin sweater on the shelf and put it on. He stared at Xiangyi, looking innocent and pitiful. Xiangyi. Brother Tingrui. Don't be so fierce. You'll scare him. Xiangli was so angry that he almost vomited blood. You're still protecting this *****. Shi Sui leaned against the doorframe. Part of his sweater had slipped off, revealing his collarbones and protruding Adam's apple. He blinked innocently. Huh? Didn't Sister E lock the door? Tsk. I wonder who did it. Xiangli. Of course, he couldn't admit that he did it. Otherwise, he would turn from a genius brother to a fool brother in front of his sister. Xiangyi tugged at her brother's sleeve and whispered. Brother, I don't know who locked the door, but I think I took advantage of him. Xiangli? Xiangyi looked pitiful. How can I take responsibility for it to show my sincerity? Xiangli. You even tricked my tutu? King Shi Sui, are you still human? Chapter 241. Xiangyi was pushed out of the room by her brother. Then the door was slammed shut. Before the door was closed, Xiangyi saw her brother rolling up his sleeves. Are they going to fight? She wanted to go in, but she heard her brother yelling through the door. Go back to your room. Then, Shi Sui's gentle and calm voice sounded. Don't worry, I'll have a good chat with your brother. Xiangyi scratched her head and chose to believe them. She walked towards her room. Her hungover brain was slower than usual, so she didn't notice that someone was secretly taking photos of her coming out of Shi Sui's room outside the floor-to-ceiling window. In the kitchen, porridge was simmering in the casserole pot, and the fragrance of the rice wafted out through the crack in the door. Xiangyi wanted to make up for it, so she made a particularly sumptuous breakfast, which was all Shui's favorite dishes. After spending time with him for the past few days, Xiangyi had already figured out his preferences. His palate was light, carnivorous, and he especially liked to eat fish and shrimp, which was a bit similar to Xiao Naofu. She made steamed dumplings, shrimp dumplings, egg pancakes, and other Chinese pastries, as well as bacon, sausages, fried eggs, potato pancakes, and other Western breakfasts. She even fried a fish for Xiao Naofu. Xiao Naofu was nestled in a hammock on the top floor of the luxurious cat villa, chewing its paws in a fit of pique. It saw Xiangyi coming out of Shui's room. Boo-hoo, this stupid woman has changed her mind. I'm no longer her favorite. I'm not going to talk to her anymore. However, when Xiangyi came over with the grilled fish, Xiao Naofu's nose twitched, and it began to drool. Xiao Naofu, it's time to eat, Xiangyi coaxed softly. No. I can't forgive her just because she coaxed me. Xiao Naofu. Xiangyi scratched the back of Xiao Naofu's neck. Don't be angry with me, okay? I've coaxed you twice. Xiao Naofu counted in its heart. Xiangyi murmured, everything, little baby, if you don't eat, the grilled fish will get cold. 3 times. Humph, forget it, I'll just reluctantly forgive her. Xiao Naofu flipped over and extended its claws at Xiangyi. Meow. Xiangyi raised her eyebrows and took it down from the hammock. She patiently tore the grilled fish into small pieces and fed it bit by bit. Xiao Naofu's belly was round as it rolled around on the ground in satisfaction. Xiangyi threw it a few balls to play with and got up to do her morning exercise outside. Behind the small kitchen, there was a villa where the staff of the production team lived. Xiao Liang was the camera assistant of the production crew. He had just graduated not long ago and was at the age where he was impatient. His salary was considered high among his peers. However, he lived in this large manor every day and watched the bright and beautiful stars coming and going. It was inevitable that he would feel a little unbalanced. What right did these people have to have all this without working hard? And he could only get a few $1,000s a month? The aroma of the rice grew stronger and stronger, spreading from afar. Xiao Liang was displeased. That female artist named Xiangyi is really hypocritical. She only cooks for us once in a while. At other times, we have to order takeout or solve our own problems. Since she's already cooking, what's wrong with cooking more? We're all humans. Why should we treat them differently? As for whether Xiangyi would have a hard time cooking for dozens of people, that was not within his consideration. He gritted his teeth and found a paparazzi that he had accidentally added on his friend list. He typed, "There's a video of Shengdi and Xiangyi. How much are you willing to pay?" During the morning rush hour, an explosive video instantly attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 242. The blogger who broke the news had a notorious reputation, but the netizens were keen on gossiping and would always curse while watching the drama unfold. Gossip Frontline v. Shocking. At the filming site of a well-known variety show, a certain female celebrity couldn't bear the loneliness and broke into the male guest's room in the middle of the night for a tryst. She didn't come out until the morning. The female guest's brother flew into a rage when he found out about it, deeply ashamed of himself for having such a shameless sister. There was a 10-second video attached, in which a slender girl came out of the room with 2 men behind her. The blogger was very tactful. He didn't mention any names and even blurred out everyone's faces. However, the more he tried to cover it up, the more curious he became. The comment section was extremely lively. Let's squat in the front row and see the name of this disgusting female guest. Oh my God, those clothes. I think I know who she is. Hey, the 2 men behind her have such good figures. Maybe this female celebrity is trying to get in between the 2 brothers' beautiful romance? Don't say that, it's disgusting. Let me decode the code. The variety show is 2 Under One Roof, and the female guest is Xiangyi, who has been in the limelight recently, while the male guest is Shui, the best actor. The older brother is a PhD student named Xiang Li, who is very impressive. Seriously? I watched the live stream yesterday and had a good impression of Xiangyi. Why is she causing trouble again today? She's always seducing men. The news caught them off guard, but Xingchen Entertainment, which Shui was in, still immediately released a statement. However, Tomato Entertainment, which Xiangyi was in, didn't respond for a long time, which inevitably caused people to speculate. Little did they know that Tomato Entertainment felt that it was also a way to make a name for themselves. Once they gained popularity, they could even help the company's newcomers. Why would they go against money? Anyway, Xiangyi had been scolded all this while, so what if they scolded her a little more? In the manner. After having breakfast with Shangguang, Yin Zhangxue exchanged contact information with Xiangyi and reluctantly said goodbye. Although the three masters wanted to stay behind to teach, they were all tied up with miscellaneous matters and could only make an appointment later. Only Xiangyi, Shi Sui, and Xiang Li were left at the dining table. Brother Shi Sui, try this xiaomai. Brother Shi Sui, this shrimp dumpling is also delicious. I added less salt according to your taste. Brother Shi Sui, do you want another bowl of congee? I'll get it for you. Xiang Li gritted his teeth. It's not like he doesn't have hands. Shi Sui said kindly, Sister Yi, you don't have to be so nice to me. Anyway, I'm used to it. Your second brother is in a bad mood. You should coax him more. Xiang Li. If it weren't for the fact that Shi Sui was still a decent person last night and nothing had happened between the two of them, he would have ordered his bodyguards to break this guy's legs. With his intelligence back, Xiang Li's eyes lit up. Tutu went to your room. Didn't you feel anything? Hearing this, Xiangyi also felt that something was wrong. Shi Sui wasn't tricking her, was he? I drank a lot last night too, Shi Sui said calmly. This was the truth, but he wasn't drunk. However, this sentence successfully misled Xiangyi. If it were someone else, Xiangyi might have questioned it. However, she had a natural sense of trust when it came to Shi Sui. After all, in her memory, Shi Sui had always been a gentle and reliable older brother. Little did she know that the gentlemanly image was just an illusion. The big tail behind him had been wagging long ago. At this moment, Li Jianyu rushed in. Chapter 243. Daddy Shi, bad news. There's news about you and Sister Yi. Li Jianyu was sweating profusely as he handed the phone to Shi Sui. Xiangyi tilted her head to take a look but was stopped by Li Jianyu. It should have been leaked by our crew. I'm investigating it now. Sister Yi, don't worry. I'll definitely give you an explanation. Xiangyi immediately understood and asked calmly, someone is scolding me? Li Jianyu was a little helpless. Yeah. Soon, Shi Sui's manager, Si Chuanbai, called and he got up to the balcony to pick it up. Si Chuanbai said concisely, the announcement has been made. I need to confirm with you whether the two of you are in a relationship. If you are you going to make it public? I'll have to prepare for the next step. Shi Sui looked up at Xiangyi. Not at the moment. Are you serious? Si Chuanbai was slightly stunned. I'll just ask directly. Is she worth it? She's worth it, she answered without hesitation. Si Chuanbai was silent for a while before saying, all right, I understand. Since it's your choice, I'll respect and cooperate with you. Then you. She chuckled lazily. Aren't you going to wish me a happy marriage in advance? The originally serious atmosphere was forcefully diverted by Shi Sui's flirtatious words. Si Chuanbai took a deep breath and mocked. You're not even in a relationship and you're already thinking about getting married? Haha, why don't you find a naming master to help you come up with a few baby names? All right, remember to find a master who's more expensive. Thank you. Xiangyi also received a video call from Ah Nan. On the screen, Ah Nan was crying with a head full of colorful hair. Boo-hoo, they're so bad. Not only did they not help you with public relations, they even let a few newbies ride on your popularity. Trash company, why hasn't it closed down yet? Xiangyi did not take these matters to heart. To her, it was far less important than what to make for lunch. All right, don't cry. Xiangyi comforted him. If it really goes bankrupt, won't you lose your job too? Ah Nan sniffed. Then when the time comes, I'll be Tony's teacher and raise you by washing, cutting, and blowing. Xiangyi couldn't help but laugh. She imagined the scene and inexplicably felt that it was quite suitable for Ah Nan. How can you still laugh? When the brothers from C7 heard about it, they were about to cry. Tell them that I'll find a way to solve it. Really? N, do you want to come for lunch? I'll make your favorite braised pig trotters. Gulp. In the video, Ah Nan clearly swallowed his saliva. Oh, all right then. See you at noon. He hung up the phone. Xiangyi met her brother's gaze. Xiangli frowned and tapped the table with his left hand. The time between each tap was exactly the same. How are you going to resolve this? Xiangyi said frankly, I don't know. Xiangli's eyebrows twitched. Then why did you make such a solemn vow? The girl's face bloomed into a smile, revealing her small dimples. Because I have you. If it was in the fast transmigration world, she would have desperately fought to survive. But now, she wanted to rely on her brother a little. Oh, idiot, you can't even do this? Although he said that, Xiangli's eyes were full of smiles. He coughed lightly. You want me to help you? Beg me. Xiangyi clasped her hands together and softly said coquettishly, Brother, I beg you to help me, okay? Wait. Xiangli interrupted her. He skillfully turned on the camera and said in all seriousness, Let's do it again. I didn't record it just now. Chapter 244. Other than doting on her, what else could her brother do? Xiangyi opened for business. Brother, I beg you. Stop, I don't even deserve an adjective. The most talented and handsome brother in the world. I beg you to help me. That's it? Where's your sincerity? I don't feel it at all. Brother, you're the best. I'll make you anything you want to eat. Do your hands hurt? I'll give you a massage. After recording for more than 10 minutes, Xiangli finally chose one and sent it out one by one. 2. Not so smart Xiaocito. Not so silly Xiaocito. Big brother with a decent IQTO. Little uncle not smart. Not long after, Xiangli received a reply. Not so smart Xiaoxi. Ah, little sister is so cute. Not so silly Xiaoxi. She even praised me the day before yesterday for being the best brother. Cry/ball. Little uncle not smart. You're bullying little Xiangyi again. Big brother with a decent IQ. Big brother with a decent IQ. She's back. Sangchen used an affirmative reply. Xiangli smiled and replied, Yes. Big brother with a decent IQ. Confirm if that person will appear again. Seeing this, Xiangli frowned slightly. He suddenly felt disgusted when he thought of the existence that had occupied his sister's body for the past year. In fact, Sangchen had already noticed that something was wrong from the beginning. That was why Sangchen signed the agreement to restrict Xiangyi from causing trouble. After interacting with Xiangyi, Xiangli had also guessed it. Xiangqi had his suspicions, but he wasn't sure. Xiangyu had a vague feeling that his sister was acting strangely. As for Xiangfeng, it was better not to mention it. In the manner. The filming was done at night on weekdays, so the staff still had a lot of free time during the day. Xiao Liang looked at the balance on his cell phone and was extremely excited. It turned out that a piece of news could be sold for so much money. After tasting the sweetness of it, he was thinking about how to shoot a more exciting video. If he did it a few more times, wouldn't he be able to become rich? Seeing the girl watering the flowers with a watering can in the sea of flowers outside the window, greed appeared in Xiao Liang's eyes. If he put a few pinhole cameras in her bedroom and bathroom, he might be able to get a video that could be sold at a sky-high price. Or, he could threaten her. Thinking of the FRB kneeling at his feet and begging him, Xiao Liang felt great. Just as he was searching for a camera on the internet. Bang! The door was kicked open by someone. Looking at the few well-built bodyguards at the door, Xiao Liang was scared witless. His voice trembled uncontrollably. This is my room. It's too disrespectful of you to barge in like this. These bodyguards had been secretly protecting Xiangli all year round, and they had long developed the habit of obeying orders. He didn't waste any more words with him and directly carried him to the courtyard. Hey, what is the meaning of this? Let me go! Xiao Liang yelled, I'm the assistant cameraman of the production crew. Do you guys have any respect for our production crew? When the staff saw this, they all gathered around. What's going on? Hey, what right do you have to do this? Director Li, look at them. This is too much. Li Jianyu's face was cold. Quiet. He was usually joking around, and the average age of the staff was young, so no one was afraid of him. However, when Li Jianyu became serious, the scene suddenly quieted down. The news on Weibo today was a mistake by our production crew. Here, in addition to apologizing to Teacher Xiangyi, I also want to seek justice for Teacher Xiangyi. Chapter 245. Li Jianyu's sharp gaze shot towards Xiao Liang. Xiao Liang's face was pale and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. However, he refused to admit it. Are you suspecting me? How could I do such a thing? Li Jianyu said coldly, if you admit it now, I won't hold you legally responsible. He wanted to give Xiao Liang one last chance. However, Xiao Liang thought that he was bluffing. Didn't he just take a video? Why would he be held legally responsible? Moreover, he had deleted all the chat records and used a distant relative's bank account to collect the money. In his opinion, he had done a perfect job. I didn't do it. I swear. Otherwise, I'll be hit by a car when I go out. Xiao Liang swore. A few staff members who were familiar with him spoke up for him. Director Li, is there a misunderstanding? Xiao Liang is usually a good person. He's not that kind of person. Li Jianyu's expression was cold. Since you don't want a chance, don't blame me for being merciless. He took out the evidence directly. The video was recorded at 5 o'clock in the morning. The marketing account exposed it at 7 o'clock in the morning. At that time, most of us were still asleep. Dr. Xiang wrote a small program to capture the most Wi-Fi traffic devices in this area. It's your phone. Xiao Liang's expression changed drastically. He had habitually connected to the Wi-Fi. He did not expect this to be evidence. However, he quickly retorted, I just woke up early and played with my phone for a while. The video could have been sent by someone else. Li Jianyu said, how long are you going to be stubborn? Dr. Xiang traced the source of the video. It was sent by your device. Then it could have been sent by someone else using my phone. Xiao Liang's words were full of loopholes. The staff members who had spoken up for him earlier felt their hearts turn cold. Seeing this, Xiao Liang decided to go all out. So what if I was the one who took the video? Why don't you blame Xiangyi for seducing Shui? Why are you blaming me? Li Jianyu was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Invading other people's privacy, and you still think you're right? If she had kept her private life in check, I wouldn't have been able to take that video. Xiao Liang said with conviction. At the end of the day, it was her fault. The next second, a certain Siscon doctor grabbed his collar with one hand. His eyes were dark and murderous. Xiao Liang wailed, someone's been beaten up, someone's been beaten to death. Help! Li Jianyu was speechless. He had never seen a thief crying thief. Xiangli suddenly smiled. What do you think is more terrifying than death? Xiao Liang froze. It's a life worse than death. Xiangli raised his eyebrows. Do you want to try? Xiao Liang's pupils dilated. He was a little scared. He subconsciously searched for Xiangyi. She had a gentle temper and was easy to talk to. As long as he begged her properly, she would definitely forgive him. Not far away, the young girl looked calm. She was still watering the flowers unhurriedly, as if she did not take this matter to heart. Teacher Xiangyi. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I'll apologize to you, okay? I'm still young and ignorant. Please don't take it to heart. Uft. A chuckle came from the handsome man beside the young girl. Shui was obviously smiling, but his peach blossom eyes seemed to be mixed with ice. There was no trace of warmth in them. You think you're worthy of calling her name? Chapter 246. The man's aura was too strong and overwhelming. Xiao Liang met his gaze for a few seconds and his legs turned to jelly. With a bang, he fell to the ground and his phone slipped out of his pocket. The screen was still lit up and displayed keywords such as pinhole camera, bedroom, bathroom, secret camera. Shui's eyes narrowed and he exuded a dangerous aura from head to toe. Xiao Liang was on the verge of tears and completely lost his previous arrogance. I didn't install this. I was just thinking about it. Is it illegal to think about it? Shui's aura became even colder. He couldn't bear to mess around with this little girl. What right did this piece of trash have to think about hurting her? Xiangli, bring your sister into the house, Shui said in a low voice. I can solve my sister's problem. Xiangli said unhappily. Then when she cries later, will you coax her? Xiangli gritted his teeth and grabbed Xiangyi's wrist and walked to the living room. Xiangyi's focus was completely different from the two of them. I'm not scared. I haven't finished watering my flowers, Xiangli said seriously. No, you're scared. Xiangyi said. Okay, I'm scared. Xiangli nodded in satisfaction. Okay, I'll protect you. Nan drove his small shabby car to the manor early in the morning. When he arrived, there were still some staff members in the garden who hadn't left yet. They were gathered in small groups and whispering about something. Oh my god, Shui looks so cool when he's angry. He looks so good wearing glasses and sneering. I heard that he has a good temper. He didn't even take it to heart when his assistant betrayed him, but I didn't expect him to be so serious this time. Xiao Liang is really too much. But after today's incident, he can forget about staying in this industry in the future. Nan listened to the gossip for a while before rushing into the villa. Good boy. I'm here. In front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Xiangyi was combing Xiao Naofu's fur. The little kitten was sleeping soundly with its head facing the sky and snoring contentedly. Nan. Humans are not as good as cats. Xiangyi smiled and said, the pork trotters are ready. Is there anything else you want to eat? I'll eat whatever you make. Nan chuckled. He took out his phone and showed it to Xiangyi. That's strange. Our company has changed. They're actually helping you with public relations. On the screen was a statement issued by Tomato Entertainment. In addition to condemning the person who took the photo and the marketing account, there was also a lawyer's letter of warning. The netizens in the comments section were all stunned. You've lived long enough to see anything. Tomato Entertainment actually has a PR department? OMG, FQ didn't even appear when C7's fans were fighting so fiercely. This time, he actually stepped in personally for the vase fairy. Oh wow. This Lin Chen law firm is one of the top law firms in the country. Why would they take on such a small case involving an artist's reputation? There were also two groups of fans who didn't like each other. Marketing accounts are taking things out of context to begin with. What can a video prove? Don't you know that Shuringdi hates women? There's no way he likes Xiangyi. With all due respect, our sister E is both salty and sweet. She's rich and talented, and she even has a few immortal brothers. Please don't mislead us. Our sister E just wants to be beautiful by herself. But more than that, the CP fans were celebrating. There should be a dozen more trending searches like this. We're in the same room. Sisters, I'll call you first. In 2 days, I'm going overseas to shoot a double magazine cover. I don't care. Honey. Moon. Duck. Chapter 247. I know about the magazine cover. She heard that this was a resource that third brother brought into the production team. But what's the meaning of a honeymoon? Also, what does untimely is real mean? Xiangyi rested her chin on her hands, feeling extremely confused. Was it because she hadn't surfed the internet for too long? Why couldn't she understand what everyone was saying? Nan's jaw dropped. It can't be, can it? Don't you know that you and Shuringdi have CP fans? Xiangyi. It's been a little popular recently. You guys are no longer the Arctic Circle couple. I even went to eat some candy. I have to say, everyone is really a girl under a microscope. Nan sighed as he searched for the topic, untimely boyfriend, for Xiangyi. He skillfully entered the comments section, signed in, and forwarded the comments section. Then, he found the best posts and showed them to Xiangyi. A few minutes later, Xiangyi looked a little absent-minded. It seemed a little sweet. Could this be the legendary, I kowtow to myself? What are you looking at? Xiangli poured a glass of water and sat down beside them. Nan urged. It's a super story. Brother, do you want to see it? It's very sweet. It's a must to relieve stress. Really? Xiangli lowered his head to look at her, wanting to have more common topics to talk about with his sister. Untimely super sweet. Shursui's sister E is moved, edited. Sweeter than first love. Did today's untimely official proclamation. From the first meeting, 10,000 years have passed. Thousands of characters for known minute. 2 minutes. Xiangli maintained the same posture and did not move. However, his expression became more and more solemn. However, Nan still asked heartlessly, Brother, how is it? Isn't it beautiful? Xiangli put down the cup, rubbed his eyebrows, and looked at Xiangyi with a straight face. Come with me. Huh. Xiangyi didn't know what was going on and followed him to the balcony. Xiang Li's opening speech was very cold. Recite the 16th rule of the family. Xiangyi recalled for a moment. The dangers of puppy love are as follows. First, it's easy to be cheated by a man. Second, out of the corner of his eye, Xiang Li caught a glimpse of a tall and slender figure. His expression did not change as he waited for his sister to finish reciting. Only then did he leisurely say, "So no early love." "Xiangyi," the little girl said weakly, "Brother, I'm already 20 years old." "What's wrong with being 20 years old? I'm not your brother anymore when I'm 20. Xiangyi had always been obedient in front of her brother. "Oh, okay." Xiang Li patted her little head. "Good girl." He raised his eyebrows at Shui, who was not far away, as if he was openly provoking her. Shui clicked his tongue and mouthed, "Okay. Childish." Xiang Li didn't take it seriously. After Shui walked away, he suddenly asked, "Tell me, where have you been in the past year?" Xiangyi widened her eyes. "What's there to be surprised about? Do you think I'm the same as little uncle and can't even see that?" Xiang Li smiled slightly, like an old fox. "Tutu, are you insulting your brother's intelligence?" Time passed. Xiangyi briefly summarized her experience in the past year. Xiang Li listened very carefully. He tapped the railing again and again. The rhythm was accurate. "Do you think the initial opportunity was the car accident?" Xiangyi was stunned. "Isn't it?" Xiang Li's voice was very deep. "There's a problem. That person may come back." Chapter 248. The sky was overcast. It was the rainy season, and there would be showers from time to time. The sound of thunder came from afar, and the dull roar exploded in their ears. "Huh!" Xiangyi was stunned, as if she couldn't believe it. After a long time, she came back to her senses. "Brother, you mean that person's appearance is not a coincidence?" Behind all coincidences, there is a certainty. According to the rules of the system that you said, only souls on the verge of death can be selected. Then, you actually don't fit this rule. Because your injuries are not that serious. A year ago, Xiangyi was in a car accident and fainted on the spot. However, she woke up in just a few hours and only suffered some external injuries. Xiangyi frowned. She tried to keep up with her second brother's rhythm. "In other words, I might not be the one selected to travel between worlds." "That's right. Maybe you just unconsciously became someone's scapegoat. Think about it carefully. Not all the worlds you go to are safe, right? Physical injuries are small, but if your soul is wiped out, you will disappear forever. This logic is not difficult to deduce. If it's just a trip around the world, then traveling between worlds is the reward. However, if it's a life-threatening mission, then no one will be willing to accept it." A gust of wind blew, and Xiangyi suddenly felt a little cold. Xiang Li paused. He was silent for a few seconds, took off his coat, and put it on his sister's shoulders. "This is just my analysis. It can't be proven false. Just listen to me." The girl's eyes fell on her brother's right hand, and her breath stopped. If it was really as her brother speculated, that person might take over her body again. What if her brother was hurt again? She felt a light pat on her back, and her brother's gentle voice rang in her ears. "Don't hold your breath. What if you hurt yourself?" Xiangyi felt a little choked up. He remembered all her little habits. "Brother, let's exchange a secret signal. If one day I can't answer, don't believe anything that I say, and don't make any sacrifices for me." Xiangyi tried hard to squeeze out a smile, but it was uglier than crying. The family that she valued the most had been trampled on so wantonly. It was also very likely that it was not an accident. It was a conspiracy. "If you can't laugh, then don't laugh." Xiang Li pinched his cheek and pondered for a few seconds. "You want to cry for a while? Don't worry, I have time. You can cry all you want." He was really and seriously comforting her. "How about you cry for 5 minutes first? Shall I make a watch for you?" Xiangyi was amused by him. As she laughed, her eyes turned red. "Brother, you're still the same as before. You don't know how to coax people. Then let's set our secret code. 5 minutes? All right." Xiangyi inexplicably felt a lot more at ease after the brother and sister talked things out. It was as if he had been floating in the void for a long time and had finally found a foothold. Steady and steady, supporting her. She would never have to worry about not having a way out. By the way, how did you find out that something was wrong? Xiangyi thought of the contract that her brother forced that person to sign. It was very detailed. Although it was childish, it restrained that person from doing whatever she wanted. To put it simply, it was okay to do small things, but there was no room for discussion for big things. Xiangli shook his head. I'm not sure, but something bad must have happened. Chapter 249. Xiangyi felt a headache coming on. What exactly did the one occupying my body do to Big Brother? He knows that you're back. Go and explain to him. Xiangli was certain that Big Brother's IQ had always been high. Xiangyi said pitifully, I'm scared. She had been most afraid of Big Brother ever since she was a child. Xiangli didn't respond. He would never admit that he was also afraid of Big Brother. Sanction. The devil himself. His mouth was hard, but his heart was even harder. The whole family called him a man without a heart. Big Brother, when Big Brother comes back, can you come with me? Xiangyi carefully tugged at Xiangli's sleeve. Little sister, you have to learn to be brave, okay? Although he was talking about chicken soup, his slender hand slowly pulled her hand away. He pulled it away. Xiangyi was speechless. Just a second ago, he was so touching, but now he was so fragile. He was indeed her biological brother. Xiangli cleared his throat. I suggest you bring little uncle with you. He can help you take most of the firepower. With him around, Big Brother probably won't have time to scold you. Feng Feng of the Xiang family naturally had the attribute of attracting hatred. In a game, he would be a meat shield that would bleed but not shed tears. Xiangyi was enlightened. Big Brother, you're indeed a genius. What you said makes sense. Xiangyi put on her brother's jacket and returned to the living room. Shi Sui, who was teasing Xiao Naofu, paused and glanced at her. Mr. C, you're here? Xiangyi noticed Si Chuanbai. As a top manager, Si Chuanbai always dressed in a suit and leather shoes. She felt that he was more like a domineering CEO than little uncle. Si Chuanbai nodded. Miss Xiang. He was here to work with Shi Sui. Nan stared at Si Chuanbai for a long time before moving closer to him and asking softly, Are those sparkling cufflinks made of obsidian? That envious look in her eyes was similar to when she bought a 5-cent popsicle when she was a child and saw her classmates eating a 5-yuan milk popsicle. Si Chuanbai. He smiled politely. Yes. Nan immediately let out a heartfelt sigh. Wah. They were both agents, but Si Chuanbai was clearly an elite in the workplace, and he's a social animal at best. Si Chuanbai, on the other hand, felt that Xiangyi's manager was too unreliable. That gaudy, colorful hair and that silly smile. Si Chuanbai also couldn't understand the way he interacted with Xiangyi. The two of them didn't seem like working partners, but more like best friends. Nan was hungry before dinner time, so Xiangyi made him a bowl of noodles mixed with scallion oil. Seeing Nan eating so happily, Si Chuanbai frowned. Was it really that delicious? Could it be an act? But when lunch was served, braised pig trotters, braised chicken feet, braised duck neck, braised dried tofu, braised mushrooms, a rich aroma assaulted his nostrils. The ingredients had all been stewed until they were soft and tender. They were wrapped in a layer of thick and shiny marinade, and sprinkled with a little sesame to decorate them. This large platter of braised food instantly captured all of Si Chuanbai's attention. He maintained a reserved image and picked up his chopsticks to pick up the stir-fried vegetables closest to him. Suddenly, a large and soft pig trotter was stuffed into his hands. Chew chew. Don't stand on ceremony. This is the biggest. Nan gnawed on the chicken feet and said in a muffled voice. Si Chuanbai. What a joke. He was such a strict, fastidious and clean person. Would he be as rough as this little colorful hair and chew on a pig trotter? But, why did this damn pig trotter smell so good? Chapter 250. Si Chuanbai stared seriously at the pig trotter in his hand. After a few hours of marinating, it had a red and oily luster. It was a little hot in his hand, and the overbearing aroma went straight into his nose. He started to salivate uncontrollably. Just one bite would do. With the mentality of giving it a try, he elegantly tore off a bit and tasted it. The moment the tip of his tongue touched the marinated pig trotter, The collagen-rich pig trotter was incomparably soft. After chewing twice, it was fatty but not greasy. The meat was slightly springy and chewy. The aroma of the marinating sauce permeated every inch of the meat, even the bones. The combination of fragrance, sweetness, saltiness, freshness, and spiciness with a strong invasiveness instantly occupied Si Chuanbai's taste buds. How could it be? How could it be? This damned pig trotters were actually so delicious. Si Chuanbai's hands trembled slightly. Slowly tearing and eating with his hands was no longer enough to satisfy him. Cursing under his breath, Si Chuanbai raised the pig trotter and took a big bite. This brought about a sense of satisfaction that couldn't be found in small bites. The gold medal manager, who had always been known for being meticulous and serious, had lost all his image at this moment. He was holding the pig trotter and chewing happily. This scene fell into Anan's eyes. Had Mr. C never eaten good food before? The speed at which he swept everything away was too exaggerated. He must have been too busy and didn't have time to eat properly. Thinking of this, Anan looked at him with eyes full of sympathy. Thus, after Si Chuanbai finished the pig trotter, there were chicken feet, braised eggs, dried tofu, lotus root slices on the plate in front of him. The initiator Anan still didn't know that he had caused Si Chuanbai's image to be destroyed. He smiled foolishly at him. Si Chuanbai's chewing paused slightly. This little colorful hair, after looking at it for a long time, was quite pleasing to the eye. After the meal, Si Chuanbai wiped his hands and mouth with a wet towel and returned to his professional side. He looked at Shi Sui and said in a low voice, "I have something to tell you." Shi Sui. He originally thought that his manager wanted to talk to him about something serious, but he didn't expect Si Chuanbai to sincerely and seriously ask, "Do you want me to help you look at the wedding venue? Do you want to look at the confinement center too?" Speaking of children, there doesn't seem to be any good houses in the school district under your name. Si Chuanbai's tone could only be described as angry. "If you're like this, how can I be at ease with Miss Xiangyi marrying you?" Shi Sui slowly typed a question mark. "Where? Whose manager are you?" Si Chuanbai shook his head. "No, you can't do this. Looks like I'll have to get you other jobs besides two under one roof. Otherwise, how are you going to make money for the baby's milk powder?" Shi Sui. "Do I look like someone who can't support his wife and children? It doesn't matter if you're alone, but do you have the heart to let Miss Xiangyi suffer with you? Do you want to be a gigolo?" Shi Sui raised her eyebrows. "That's a good suggestion." Si Chuanbai sneered, completely forgetting how much he despised Xiangyi and betrayed her. "Heh, do you think you can be a gigolo just because you want to? Miss Xiangyi is so popular. She's beautiful, kind, and good at cooking. There are a lot of puppies lining up to get her number. An old man like you who's almost 30 years old, what number can you get?" Shi Sui. "Your ability to lose your memory on the spot is amazing." Smiley face. Chapter 251. Your ability to lose your memory on the spot is really amazing. Shi Sui, who had been stabbed in the heart by his agent, rubbed his eyebrows and said helplessly, "It's only been one meal, and you're already part of her family? If I were part of Miss Xiangyi's family." Si Chuanbai paused and smiled. "You wouldn't even be able to enter our house." Shi Sui. He habitually searched for Xiangyi's figure and looked around. Xiangli was cleaning up the dishes. The men of the Xiang family had always been very conscientious when it came to housework. Anan was studying Si Chuanbai's rare leather briefcase. Even with Si Chuanbai's permission, he still didn't dare to touch it. Finally, he saw Xiangyi by the tatami mats near the floor-to-ceiling windows. The girl was coaxing Xiao Naofu to eat the hair cream, but it refused to eat it. "Xiao Naofu, if you don't eat this, you'll have a hairball in your stomach." Xiangyi softly coaxed it. Xiao Naofu, who knew her temper, not only refused to eat it, but it also angrily slapped the hair cream to the ground with its paws. Xiangyi was at her wits' end. Just as she was at her wits' end, Shi Sui suddenly came to her side and picked up Xiao Naofu. Xiao Naofu saw that it was him and clawed at the air in horror. "Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Stupid woman, save me. Take a picture." Shi Sui's tone was thin. He pressed one hand on Xiao Naofu's paw and pointed to the hair cream on the ground. "Crime scene, cat dirty." Xiangyi blinked her eyes and did as she was told. She snapped a photo. "Xiao Naofu, Meow meow meow. This hoo-hoo is not a cat. Shui, criminal Xiao Naofu, sentenced to 3 days in jail and deprived of dried fish for a week. Xiao Naofu seemed to have suffered a huge blow. Its face was round, and its cat eyes were even rounder. It cried out pitifully and aggrievedly, meow meow meow. Xiangyi's heart softened as soon as it acted like a spoiled child. Forget it. It's its first offense. Give it a chance. Shui pondered for a moment and said, if you behave well, the execution can be postponed. He held the kitten in front of him and raised his eyebrows. Listen to Sister E, okay? He deliberately chose a blind spot in Xiangyi's field of vision and mouthed, or I'll take you to sterilize. Xiao Naofu was so scared that its tail curled into a ball, protecting its vital parts. When he returned Xiao Naofu to Xiangyi, the little cat was extremely well behaved. Not only did it eat the hair bomb, but it also extended its paws to let Xiangyi cut its nails. Xiangyi was amazed. I feel that you will be very good at taking care of Zai Zai in the future. Shui chuckled. Really? Well, I'm different. I'll probably become the type who spoils the children. Shui spoke slowly. In a family, it's enough to have one who can take care of Zai Zai. His voice was as light as a feather, so Xiangyi didn't hear it clearly. She turned her small face. Ha! What did you say? Shui's thin lips curved slightly, and his eyes lovingly touched Xiao Naofu's head. Nothing, I just suddenly feel that Xiao Naofu is quite cute. Xiao Naofu's fur was about to explode. Ah, don't touch me. On the other side. Annan excitedly grabbed Si Chuanbai's arm. Candy! It's candy! Look at this scene, doesn't it look like a family of 3? Si Chuanbai was indifferent. Heh! Annan was excited. We're going on our honeymoon soon. It's like a wedding trip. At the mention of this, Si Chuanbai suddenly thought of something. Are you in charge of booking the tickets? Ha! You didn't? Annan was dumbfounded. Chapter 252. The two of them looked at each other for a few seconds. They realized that something was wrong. Si Chuanbai's face was sullen. Originally, Shui's assistant was in charge of these chores, but that person was fired for betraying Shui. After that, Shui came to film 2 Under One Roof, and the matter of finding an assistant was put on hold. Shui wasn't the only one he brought along, and he was usually very busy. If he hadn't come over today, he wouldn't have even thought of booking a plane ticket. Although Si Chuanbai didn't say anything, Annan blamed himself. I'm sorry, I've been dealing with the endorsement of Guaguai recently. I thought you had already booked it. I'll book the tickets now. He opened the ticketing software and found that all the tickets from Nanjing to France had been sold out. What should we do? Annan was getting more and more flustered. If we can't make it, won't the cover of the double magazine be ruined? Si Chuanbai said, don't worry, see if there are any flights in the neighboring cities. Annan exclaimed, ah yes, I'll take a look now. However, unfortunately, the tickets to Country F from the nearby cities were all sold out. It would take 4 or 5 hours to drive to the nearest city where tickets were available, and there were no first-class or business-class tickets available. The flight to France would take a long time, and it would be very tiring to sit in the economy class. Then they would have to go for a high-intensity shoot. Si Chuanbai's brows were furrowed so tightly that they could almost kill a fly. Annan looked like he was about to cry. Book the economy class tickets first, I'll take care of the rest. In the evening, in the live stream of 2 Under One Roof, the 2 agents left after lunch. Xiangli received an urgent call in the evening and returned to the research institute for the time being. The plain and heartwarming scene attracted the attention of countless netizens. There were only 2 people and a cat at the dinner table, and the netizens immediately began to tease them. 2 Under One Roof. Look what I found. Today, Shui and Sister E are both wearing white clothes, and Xiao Naofu is white too. They're openly wearing parent-child outfits. What parent-child outfits? Ha 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 ha, Xiao Naofu is offended. What the F***CK? Shui is actually putting food in the vase fairy's bowl. Under everyone's gaze, the man in the camera calmly and naturally served Xiangyi food and soup. It could be said that he was extremely virtuous. Rest early later. I'll clean up and give Xiao Naofu a bath. The netizens who had watched the video in the morning were dumbfounded. How did the plot turn around so quickly? The comment section instantly became lively. Don't you guys think that Shurindi looks like a virtuous husband and father? What kind of bullshit tea were these marketing accounts spouting? Was this called the vase fairy seducing Shurindi? This is called Shurindi trying to please the vase fairy. Oh, the way Shurindi looks at Sister E is really different. If you don't believe me, you can compare the way he looks at other women in the movies. Aren't CP fans so annoying? This is obviously a script. Are there really idiots who believe that variety shows don't have scripts these days? Oh my god, there's a big fan of Shurindi on Weibo called All Is Well Year Round, who wants to stop being a fan. I can't watch the drama anymore. F***CK. This rich woman is super famous in the industry. She's Shurindi's wife fan. Is she going to tear this young actress apart? I'm rubbing my hands excitedly. Although it was a Monday, the traffic was at its peak at night. The netizens who were watching the drama quickly flooded into All Is Well Year Round on Weibo. Half an hour ago, she had posted a long Weibo post filled with righteous indignation. Chapter 253. All Is Well Year Round v. I've been your fan for so many years, and I've accompanied you through your darkest days as well as your glorious days. In the past, I used to think that you were misogynistic and couldn't even act in scenes where you held hands with girls. Even if I knew you didn't belong to me, you wouldn't belong to anyone. But now, I really don't understand why you and a certain female celebrity are being linked together as a couple. To be honest, I don't object to you being linked together as a couple, but you should at least find a decent one. A certain female celebrity. I think it's an insult to the word social climbing. Every time I watch the live stream, my heart bleeds while others are laughing. When I see a certain female celebrity leeching off your popularity like a vampire, I want to rip her face off. But what about you? Not only do you not keep your distance from her, you're even getting more and more intimate with her. Don't you feel sick just from touching her? Or do you insist on linking up with such a woman even if you're going to throw up? What infuriates me the most is the information that others have leaked to me. After your assistant left, you didn't find a new one because a certain female celebrity wanted to be your assistant. She's so delicate and weak. How can she take care of others? How can she take care of you? You're going abroad in 2 days, but you only bought a ticket today, and it's economy class. A few hours of transfer and more than 10 hours of flight. Must you be so mean to yourself? I'm very tired now, really tired. If you continue to link up with a certain female celebrity, I'll consider not being your fan anymore. This blogger had hundreds of thousands of fans and was also quite famous in the fandom circle. The number of comments below soon exceeded 10,000. That's right. Someone finally said what's on my mind. Don't talk nonsense. The vase fairy is just not worthy of being your idol. Where did she get the cheek to say that she wants to be Gij's assistant? Oh my god, she can't even book a plane ticket. Forgive me for being blunt, but she's a moron. I'm crying. Why is Gij so pitiful? Did the company force him to do this? I'm really going crazy after seeing the CP fans. How disgusting. Gij belongs to all of us, not that B***TCH. I'm so immersed. The thought of my idol being in love makes me want to kill someone. However, there were also netizens who raised doubts. If you don't understand, just ask. Shurindi isn't an idol, right? It's understandable that idols are forbidden from dating. But since when are actors not allowed to date? After so many days of live streaming, Xiangyi should be the most polite to Shui. On the other hand, Shui is the one who's taking the initiative to express her goodwill. Isn't Shui the one who's hyping up the couple? Let's not talk about whether the assistant is real or not. Which celebrity would book their own plane tickets? The comments on Weibo were arguing non-stop, and the live stream was also arguing with each other. Buzz! The phone on the dining table vibrated. Xiangyi picked it up and saw that it was a message from Nan. It started with a screenshot, followed by a series of crying emojis. She replied and looked at Shui. Nan said that tomorrow's flight was suddenly cancelled because of the airport scheduling. Why don't I get someone to arrange for us to leave earlier tonight? Shui. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xiangyi said indifferently. Okay. In the live stream, the fans who had rushed over after hearing the news were about to die of anger. You think we'll leave just because you said so? How are you going to fly without a plane ticket? How are we going to fly without a flight? Do you have any common sense? I'm so angry, I'm so angry. The magazine cover is going to be ruined. It's all your fault. Chapter 254. In the manor. Xiangyi found the butler's phone number and sent him a text message to explain the situation. Soon, she received a reply from the butler. On the day of her coming-of-age ceremony, her grandfather had given her a small private jet painted in a girlish pink color and named it Tutu Flight. I've asked and he said that we can set off at any time. Xiangyi put down her phone and continued, shall we leave after the live stream? Shui naturally knew about the Tutu Flight. She nodded and informed Si Chuanbai as well. Si Chuanbai's reply was a long ellipsis. He and Little Colorful Feather were extremely anxious and frantically tried to buy tickets, thinking that it was a disaster. They didn't expect that it would be resolved so easily by Miss Xiangyi. Si Chuanbai tilted his head and looked at Annan, who was still checking the tickets speechlessly. Why didn't you say earlier that your artiste has a private jet? What? Our good girl has a private jet? Isn't that something that only happens in television dramas? Annan's eyes widened. Wah! Our good girl is really rich and beautiful. The corners of Si Chuanbai's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Little Colorful Feather doesn't seem to be very smart. With an expressionless face, he sent a message to Shui. Si Chuanbai. I suddenly remembered that you have a weak digestive system. The doctor suggests that you live off a woman. Shui. Question mark. Si Chuanbai. Line up early and try to get the number you love. Don't work hard. It's good to be a gigolo. Good luck. Good luck. Shui. As soon as Xiangyi finished speaking within a few minutes, All is well year-round posted on Weibo and began to mock her. All is well year-round. To a certain actress, do you own the airport? Do you know how troublesome it is to dispatch people at the airport? How can I own special privileges for you? What a joke. Even if you want to show off, you have to follow the rules. A bunch of fans chimed in, all of them criticizing Xiangyi. Exactly. I feel disgusted just by looking at her face. It doesn't matter if her image is ruined, but what if our brother can't get the cover of the magazine? That magazine is the top international magazine. The vase fairy is so annoying. Without our brother, would she have the chance to shoot such a high-end fashion resource? It's fine if you don't cherish it, but you're dragging our brother down. You're a pest. The number of Shui's fans was comparable to that of the top celebrities. It was inevitable that there were some irrational girlfriend fans and wife fans who were extremely powerful. Several female celebrities who had worked with Shui before had been taught a lesson by them. This time, they followed their previous example and killed Xiangyi's superfans. As if that wasn't enough, they even killed Xiangyi's superfans. Xiangyi's fans were furious, but there was a huge disparity in the number of people on both sides, so they couldn't fight back. Until someone commented on All is Well Year-Round on Weibo frowny face, do you have eyes? Xiangyi's manor is so big, and she has a few awesome brothers, a gaming guru, a top designer, and a genius medical doctor. It's normal for her family to have a private jet, right? All is Well Year-Round came from a well-to-do family in real life, so she boasted that she knew a lot. Even if she has a private jet, do you think you can fly whenever you want? Don't you need to apply for the flight route? Ridiculous. She said that she can fly whenever she wants. Why don't she fly for me to see? As soon as she clicked send, a message suddenly popped up in her message box. F***CK. A private jet really landed at the Vase Fairy's manor. Chapter 255. In the manor. The camera was pointed out of the floor-to-ceiling window, clearly capturing the private jet hovering at a low altitude. The propellers spun as the jet slowly descended to the ground. It was a pink plane with rabbit ears painted in white in front of the cockpit. There was also a line of English letters on the fuselage. Rabbit. There was an uproar in the live stream. I'm getting goosebumps. Is this the daily life of Miss Perfect? Rabbit? Tutu Flight? Tutu is on Tutu Flight. She's so cute. Ha 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 ha, our sister Yi's face slapping may be late, but she'll never miss it. Someone uploaded the Weibo post about the flight route application to the live stream. After Li Jianyu saw it, he was a little curious and couldn't help but ask, Sister Yi, don't you have to apply for a flight route for a plane? Can your tutu flight fly to France? Xiangyi, Uncle Butler is in charge of this. It seems that he has to apply for a flight route and airspace in one go. Then, regardless of whether he's flying or not, he will send out a flight plan every day. That way, he can fly whenever he wants. However, apart from the annual family trip, she didn't usually use the tutu flight. The netizens in the live stream. Got it, got it. Where do you get the plane? A friendly reminder, of course you can fly if you want, but the flight route costs money. So does the plane maintenance and fuel. This trip is much more expensive than a plane ticket. I just checked, the tutu flight model costs about 100 million yuan. After buying the plane, you'll have to hire a pilot and crew, as well as maintenance and service personnel. In other words, you'll have to be able to afford the plane and the crew too. On Weibo, All Is Well Year was immediately mocked. Looking at the mocking comments made by the netizens, she was so angry that she smashed her phone. She had liked Shui for so long and had done so much for her, but why did Shui have to let her down? Originally, she felt a sense of superiority when compared with Xiangyi. She was just a female celebrity. How could a variety star who was hated by everyone on the internet compare to her? However, with the popularity of Two Under One Roof, she gradually realized how outstanding Xiangyi was. A strong sense of crisis enveloped All Is Well year round. She couldn't accept this reality. Maybe it was just that Shui didn't see her. If he had seen her, perhaps everything would have been different. Paranoid thoughts continued to linger in her mind. She picked up the phone that had a crack on the screen and slowly typed. At 9 o'clock, the live broadcast ended. Xiangyi had already packed her luggage in advance. She didn't bring too many things with her as it would only take her 3 days to complete the shoot. She made a video call to her fourth brother, Xiangyu. Xiangyu stared straight at Xiao Naofu, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down. Xiao Naofu, live well with fourth brother for the next 3 days. The girl wanted to kiss it, but the little cat dodged. Xiao Naofu was extremely aggrieved. Meow. This hoo-hoo wants to go too. The plane will vibrate violently when it takes off and lands. You might feel very uncomfortable, or even get sick. Xiao Naofu's pointed cat ears drooped as it leaned on her shoulder sullenly. Fourth brother will take good care of you. Hey, do you remember him? Xiao Naofu glanced at the esports guru in the video. Meow. On the other end of the video call, Xiangyu seemed very calm, but his heart was in turmoil. Oh, it's meowing at me. Chapter 256. Xiangyu cleared his throat. Ahem sis, don't worry. Xiangyu reluctantly put Xiao Naofu into the cat bag and handed it to Li Jianyu. As for why Li Jianyu was chosen, it all started from the time when Smog's cat fetish was seen by the entire internet and caused a social disaster. The fans of Two Under One Roof requested that the production crew go to the Logic Team's base to film a follow-up. Li Jianyu obtained permission and took the opportunity to bring the cameraman there for a short live stream. While the tutu was soaring in the starry sky. In the villa area of Nanqing, Logic's esports base was still brightly lit. After a round of APM hand speed training, the team manager clapped his hands and said loudly, "The takeout has arrived. Everyone take a break." It just so happens that the crew of Two Under One Roof is also here. Let's do a short live stream. Oh, Xiao Naofu is here? Captain Wander's eyes lit up, and the other guys had similar reactions. The calmest one was Xiangyu. The team manager laughed and said, "Yes, our Sameo Ji's little wife is here." Ever since Xiangyu's cat fetish last time, everyone had joked that Xiao Naofu was his little wife. Xiangyu walked out of the training room coldly. In the spacious living room, Li Jianyu and the others had finished adjusting the equipment and happened to film Xiangyu. The live stream room was bustling with noise and excitement. Ah, it's Sameo-gu. Look at you guys calling him Sameo-gu so much, I can't remember his English name anymore. Big Brother looks so cool in black. Who would have thought that Big Brother was a cat fetish maniac? The cat bag was placed on the ground and Li Jianyu unzipped it. Xiao Naofu stuck out half of its head cutely. Its pointy cat ears trembled and its clear sapphire-like eyes stared straight at Xiangyu. The young esports god paused for 2 seconds before walking over with one hand in his pocket. He looked down at the soft white cat condescendingly. Xiao Naofu, listen to me. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. Kittens should behave like kittens. First, eat at a designated place and don't climb onto the table. Second, Sleep in your own nest and don't climb onto the bed. Third, every player here is busy. Don't disturb your brothers during training. Fourth, after a dozen or so lines, Xiangyu finally stopped and asked coldly, "Have you memorized them?" Xiao Naofu meowed obediently. Meow meow meow, I know. In fact, Xiao Naofu's inner thoughts were, "Heh, a poop picker dares to talk so much to this hoo-hoo? Do you believe that this hoo-hoo's most smelly poop will suffocate you to death?" Little did it know that its childish cry had accurately hit Xiang Qi's heart. "Oh, it is so lovely." The next second, Xiao Naofu nimbly jumped onto the dining chair, and with a second jump, landed on the dining table. Its meaty little paws scratched the plastic bag containing the takeout twice, sniffed it curiously, and pushed it away in disgust. Tisk! It's not even 1/10,000th of the food made by that stupid woman. It sat down on the dining table and tilted its head to look up at Yu Shang. "Li Jianyu, Smog, Xiao Naofu is too naughty. How about we chase it down?" Xiang Yu's expression didn't change. He picked up the takeout bag and righteously said, "I haven't had time to buy it a cat tree. This dining table will be its cat tree." "Li Jianyu?" Xiang Yu raised his eyebrows and looked at his teammates. "Hey, what are you looking at? Do we have to eat at the dining table?" His teammates. "Who the hell are